Fenway South. Spring training action continues as tonight the Minnesota Twins visit the Boston Red Sox. Welcome inside JetBlue Park, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo. We have Nesson with us tonight. We have Fox Sports North with us tonight as our Minnesota Twins join us again, and our good friend Dick Bramer, the voice of the Twins, alongside.
Don, we're going to be alternating innings doing the play-by-play. The viewers will be treated by a couple of right-handed sluggers who probably could still clear the wall here at Fenway South. Ron Coomer was an all-star for the Twins, a memorable all-star appearance in that it was at Fenway Park. And Ron Coomer played some third base, some first base for the Twins, gave the Twins some pop from the right side of the plate. And, of course, from the Boston side, we welcome to the booth for the first time Hall of Fame slugger Jim Rice, who Twins fans remember terrorizing Twins pitching both at Metropolitan Stadium and the Metrodome. So we welcome two very good right-handed sluggers to our broadcast booth. And Ron Coomer, the Twins are trying to solve some pitching issues. And to that end, it's a big start tonight for Liam Hendriks.
Well, they're all big starts for the young guys when you're trying to make a rotation, and Liam Hendriks has done very well so far as the manager. Hi, Skipper. As the guy making the decision just walked by. So for Liam, it is a very important start, but they're all important. But he's pitched very well, and that guy that just walked by said if the game started today, he would be in the rotation. Very important for the right-hander.
Well, the Twins manager, Ron Gardner, has already made his presence felt. How about Jim Rice? Jim, tonight, Johnny Gomes in left field. A little different left field here than at Fenway Park.
It's a little different. It's not the original wall, but at least you have an idea about the 10 out there. But, of course, you got to have the corners down. But he's going to learn a lot about the wall tonight, and as spring training continues. But when he goes to Fenway Park, that's the true story.
Should be a fun night tonight. It's the Red Sox and Twins coming your way after this on a beautiful night from Fort Myers, Florida.
Meetings have brought some memorable moments, most notably in 1967. In the culmination of one of baseball's greatest pennant races, the Twins took a lead into Fenway and were beaten twice as the Red Sox brought joy to New England. While less monumental, Minnesotans have fond memories of their own. The night in 1990 when the Twins became the first and only team to turn two triple plays in the same game. And the defense in 2001 that became the signature of a young team on the verge of a breakthrough. As the Twins rose in the American League Central, the Red Sox rose to the top, fueled in large part by a young slugger who moved from Minnesota to Boston. Big Papi is on the sidelines tonight, but the Twins and the Red Sox are ready to go as spring training baseball from Fort Myers starts now.
Well, A lot to share between the Red Sox and the Twins over the years, and tonight we share as well as we come to you from JetBlue Park at Fenway South in Lee County, Florida, as the Red Sox and Twins meet once again tonight. And the great manager of the Minnesota Twins, Ron Gardenhire, last year picked up his 900th win on his resume, comes in at .932 and .851 in his 12th season at the helm for the Twins. Let's check out his starting 9 tonight. Aaron Hicks leads it off in center field, last year playing in Double-A. Jamie Carroll at third base. Chris Parmalee, who homered yesterday, is at first base. Ryan Domet does the catching of the cleanup spot with Oswaldo Arcia in right field. Joe Benson vying for the center field spot. In outfield, he'll be the DH tonight with Brian Dozier at second base batting seventh. Eduardo Escobar at shortstop, and Darren Mastriani, he is in left field. On the mound tonight for the Red Sox is Felix Dubront. Look at the numbers for him last year as he finished the season 11-10 last season. Last time out, he struck out 7 4 2/3 innings in 2 Grapefruit League starts so far this spring. He has looked very good after coming in some tough shape to begin the year. He has done very well conditioning-wise the rest of the spring and looks to be back on track once again. Take a look at the defense for the Red Sox. Behind him, Johnny Gomes in left field. Jacoby Ellsbury in center. Ryan Sweeney around in right. Third to first. Will Middlebrooks at third base. Devin Marrero added to the lineup tonight. We'll tell you more in a moment. Dustin Pedroia at second base. Mike Napoli at first. Jared Saltalamacchia does the catching. Let's check in with Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, there's stories on both sides in the outfield position. For the Twins, it's a battle for center field. Aaron Hicks out there, Joe Benson and Darren Mastriani all playing tonight. The question is, who is going to get that job? Right now, it seems like it's Aaron Hicks' job to lose. And for the Red Sox, outfield is set, but a name on everyone's mind, Jackie Bradley Jr. with a .484 average in 15 Grapefruit League games. So, Red Sox fans and Twins fans, let's tweet a question for Ron Coomer and Jim Rice about either team's outfield using the hashtag outfield. They may answer it right on our air tonight.
Well, we look forward to that, and we hope you will contribute with us tonight as well as we check your tweets out throughout the night. And it is great to have with us tonight the Hall of Famer Jim Rice along with Ron Coomer back with us once again here from JetBlue Park. And Jim Ed back in the booth here tonight. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to be here. I mean, I didn't think we saw you on the field down there, and I knew you'd be coming up here, but you don't get up here all that often. But here you are.
No, this is what you call the rich man district.
No. I was thinking
Jerry and Don. So, TC and I, we just stay down there.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. We're very happy you're here. And again, tonight we'll be asking a question to you and also to Ron Coomer. But hashtag outfield is tonight, and we look forward to that as well. And Coom's in here again. He was just here last week, so he's back with us once again.
I am. Thanks for having us. I know at Fox Sports, this broadcast goes out to our Minnesota viewers, and it's a lot of fun to be sending baseball back to the frozen tundra right now. But it's an honor to be here. It's great to be with Jimmy. I look forward to a fun night of talking. Believe it or not, we're going to talk hitting a lot tonight.
Looking forward to that.
What we're going to do, yeah?
Dick Bramer will be with us as well as he'll be coming up here in the third and fourth innings of tonight's contest. Felix Dubront getting the start tonight for the Red Sox. And Jim was a guy last year, got his spring training, was a very big surprise. I don't think most people thought he would be in the starting rotation, but he was, and pitched a lot last year for the Red Sox.
He did, and I think some people thought he pitched too much. But, you know, it seemed like, to me, it's the more you go out there, the better you're going to get. I don't know as far as by arm strength. Everyone talking about arm strength now. But when Coleman and we played, we had a 4-man rotation. Now you have a 5-man rotation. So I don't know if the arm strength is coming from the minor league or not. You got to go down there and you got to pitch. You got to throw. You got to go back to 4-man rotation. Or if you go to 5-man rotation, I think you still got to have more starts and you got to throw more.
And a pitch count right now is such an issue for all these guys. You see first pitch walk. And to me, I know with our broadcast, Bert Blyleven, our partner with Fox, talks a lot about pitch count. When he was pitching in the major leagues, there was no such thing as pitch count. It was about innings and getting W's, and we'll see tonight what happens.
I agree with you 100%.
Do you think that's the biggest change from when you played, Jim, to now as far as pitch counts and the specialties you have as pitchers coming in, working 6th inning, 7th inning, wherever it may be?
It is because I think pitchers now, they know that, look, if I go out there now and my pitch count gets up, I'm coming out the 5th or 6th inning. And, of course, the pitching coach trying to protect the pitcher, and, of course, they're trying to protect the investment that the owners have in these guys, and that's what it's gone through right now.
I'll have to check on his starter as Jared Saltalamacchia as 6 straight balls thrown by Felix Dubront out of the gate tonight. He walks Aaron Hicks and gets behind Jamie Carroll.
Dubront just looks a little out of sorts right here at the beginning. He, like his release point's been a little all over the place. So, good move by Saltalamacchia, get him out there and kind of slow the game down here a little bit for him.
It seemed like he's trying to guide everything. That's all.
As I mentioned, Pedro Siriaco scratched from the game tonight right before the game with back spasms. So it is Devin Marrero, the first-round draft choice for the Red Sox, who gets a start at shortstop. Actually played already a couple of innings in a game today. Red Sox had a split squad in Sarasota taking on the Orioles earlier today, so he's getting a chance to play in the day game and the night game.
Them young guys, they can do that. You know, you get a little longer in the tooth. We didn't like playing them early day games and coming back.
Yeah, back then you only had 40 guys in spring training. 45 minutes, 45 minutes the most you had. And now you go to spring training, you see 70 guys.
It's unbelievable how many guys are in camp now, and I know you've been around every day. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing down here every spring training.
Watching and staying out of the way. That's what I do best.
Here, I thought you were instructing.
That, yeah.
I thought he was instructing. He's just staying out of the way.
That's right. I mean, because we have 2 hitting coaches right now. And
right.
So I think, you got to give them their due, where you have someone like myself or Yaz or Dwight that's down here. You don't want to step on anyone's toes, but if a guy asks me something, I will go to him. I'm not really going to go out there just because I play for the Red Sox. That's not the way I am.
Well, it's great that all of you guys are back here. I know that the players enjoy seeing you guys around as well, and the Red Sox have done such a great job over the years of bringing back their legends like yourself. You mentioned Dwight Evans. We saw Yaz around last week. Louis Tion has been here as well. He's on the ground to third base. Middlebrooks took a look at second. The runner was off. His only play at first, and Carroll is retired as we send it down to Jenny Dell with some news from the Red Sox.
That's right, Don. The Red Sox have optioned right-handed pitchers Ruby De La Rosa and Alan Webster to AAA Pawtucket. And, Don, they've also sent Christian Vazquez, who's been very impressive this spring, to AA Portland.
Some changes for John Farrell. It is getting a little smaller as camp goes on. Today was one of those split squad days, but there are less of those moving forward. And you start to see your team forming together as this spring training goes along. We're a little deeper now, March 15th.
Well, when you come to spring training, you about know who you're going to break with. And there's probably only maybe like 1 or 2 spots that's going to be available. And so you're having these guys go out and play. You know who you're going to break with. So it's not really something that you can put your hand on that he has an opportunity to make the big club. No, he doesn't have a chance to make the big club. We need this guy to go down and have a little more experience, and that's what it's all about.
Well, there's several guys that we talked about the outfield situation, but tonight Johnny Gomes, I talked to you about him off the top, and playing the wall here. Of course, it isn't just the Green Monster here. You have a seating area with a netting area, which makes it a little bit different as far as the bounces go. But can he gain anything from this wall here down at JetBlue Park to get him ready for Fenway Park?
He can get the more of the 10 part. The other parts, no, because you have a different kind of wood in Fenway Park, and the ball's going to bounce differently than everything else. And, of course, you have the netting up there, so you can't really get yourself situated out there.
Jimmy, the thing that, to me, in playing left field, I've never played left field in Fenway, but I did play third base in Fenway a lot. And to me, the depth of the outfielder, of the left fielder, and being able to either squeeze the infield and take some balls away that are hit, that would be base hits that you can take away, or playing deep, that's at least one thing here at JetBlue Park. The depths are going to be the same as Fenway Park up north.
It is, and the whole thing about playing outfield, you got to be sort of like center with your center field. Your center field directs everything, that you got to have more of a roundness. We play off each other, and of course playing at Fenway Park, you just about know how many steps you can take to get back to the wall. So he's got to learn that. And anything over your head, anything down the line, going to be a double anyway. So really you try to take the gap away from the guy.
So we got Ryan Domet hitting right here for the Twins. Strong right-handed hitter. Playing left field in Fenway, would you play him in knowing that if he hits a line drive or a high deep fly ball, it's over your head, it's probably going to hit the wall and go out of the park? Would you try to squeeze him and take away the bloop base hit?
No, if you can sort of like get a power hitter, you're going to play a little bit. He's going to hit the ball a little hard anyway. So if the ball's hit hard anyway, this man is going to hold him at third base anyway.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about that. And the key thing here is try to keep the ball into second base depth as far as getting a double play.
Well, kind of a cool note that we mentioned last time out is Johnny Gomes mans that wall tonight is about the scoreboard here at JetBlue Park and where it has been stored, where it was before. Manual scoreboard originally served fans at Fenway Park starting in 1976. Scoreboard was used for nearly 3 decades and finally replaced in 2002. This manual scoreboard was taken to Daktronics storage facility, which was in South Dakota, where it stayed until April 2011 when it was put here at JetBlue Park, and it was brought nearly 2,200 miles to Fort Myers to be put in there. So, Jim, you got some dents on that thing out there.
What's that?
You got some dents on that scoreboard out there.
No, I think mine sort of went through and they just plastered back up.
That's a strong man you're talking about, Donnie.
You know, like Coom and I, we never did really hit the wall. We went
You
over the
speak
wall.
for yourself. You hit the ball much harder than I did.
So you didn't waste your time with the scoreboard. You put it into the net, is what you're saying.
No,
Mass
or
Pike.
through the wall, he's saying. You know, through.
No, believe it or not, we were taught to hit line drives.
Yep.
And so there were a lot of line drives off the wall and off the scoreboard. We were taught to go from gap to gap. Guys are not taught that now. With aluminum bats in high school, aluminum bats in college, there's no bunting, there's no hit and run as far as hitting the ball to the right side. I saw something the other night, and I really got excited about. The Baltimore Orioles came in, and the first couple of innings, they did a lot of fundamentals. They hit the ball to the right side. They got guys on first base. Boom, 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 man on second, hit the ball to the right side, and they scored some runs. And that's what it's all about.
Well, Buck Showalter's done a great job there with the Orioles, and part of the reason they got to the postseason last year, real turnaround there in Baltimore. But for years, the Twins played very good baseball, that style of baseball, good fundamentals.
Well, I think when you get to October, you have to know how to play all facets of the game. You can't think you're going to hit the 3-run homer every night and win, because you're facing the best starting pitching, usually facing the best bullpen, and if your starters do their job, now you're getting to the best guys in the pen. So if you can't manufacture a run here and there, you're not going to be successful come October, and both of these clubs want to be playing in October.
You see a split there for DeBron, 22 pitches, 11 balls, 11 strikes. He did just strike out Parmalee, so with 2 outs, Hicks is at second base, and Ryan Doman with a swing and a ground ball left side. Middlebrooks can't get it. Marrero can, and gets it there in plenty of time to end the inning. So the Twins leave the runner in scoring position. Red Sox are coming up, and we come back to JetBlue Park. Be there for the opening homestand of the 2013 season as the Baltimore Orioles visit Fenway Park for a 3-game series, starting with the home opener April 8th through April 11th. The action continues April 12th through Marathon Monday on the 15th when the Sox battle Tampa Bay. Get your tickets for these great matchups at redsox.com/tickets.
I already made the ball club.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to nitpick.
Back at JetBlue South as the Red Sox and Twins are scoreless. We head to the bottom of the first inning. The Red Sox coming up as John Farrell in his first year of the manager of the Boston Red Sox. 154 and 170 in his 2 years in Toronto. His lineup looks like this tonight. Jacoby Ellsbury at center field. Johnny Gomes in left field, bat second with Dusty Pedroia at second base. Mike Napoli in the cleanup spot has 2 home runs during the spring. Jared Saltalamacchia does the catching with Will Middlebrooks at third base. Mike Carter's a DH batting 7th. Ryan Sweeney out in right field, bats 8th. And Devin Marrero, Red Sox first-round draft choice at shortstop. And tonight, Ron Coomer on the mound for the Twins is Liam Hendricks.
Right-hander Liam Hendricks last year up and down a little bit for the Minnesota Twins. Had 16 starts, as you see right there. Not a very good record, but he had some games where he threw the ball well. He's vying for a starting job. To me, he's working on an out pitch here in spring training. If he can come up with an out pitch along with pitching inside, he's going to have a chance.
Darren Mastriani in left field, Aaron Hicks in center as Waldo Arcia in right field. Jamie Carroll at third. Eduardo Escobar at short with Brian Dozier at second. Chris Parmalee at first. Ryan Doman does the catching for Liam Hendricks. Jacoby Ellsbury leads it off here for the Red Sox in the bottom of the first inning. Ellsbury 7 for 28 so far during the spring, and leading off anytime he's been in a game for the Red Sox down here during the spring is Ellsbury hitting at .250 during spring training. Jim, how long did it take you before you felt comfortable at the plate timing wise during spring training?
Well, you know, like It didn't take long because I was playing every day. Like I said, we only had 25. You had a 40-man roster, and I went on every road trip. And I went out in the cage every day. I hit the cage every day. And what I tried to do was just build up calluses. When my calluses were built up, I was ready to go. And Johnny Pesky and I went out this about every day. And I'd probably say, if you're in spring training, probably around the 10th game, because we normally would play 4 or 5 innings, and then you see 3 at-bats, and I'd be ready.
How about you, Ron?
Well, and I kind of agree with Jimmy. And to me, I wanted to see a lot of different pitches, and that was the hardest thing. I always lived up north, and you see a lot of fastballs. So by the time I came to camp, I could at least swing.
This one line to right on the move is Arcia, but it's in for a base hit for Ellsbury. He's thinking 2. Headed to second base. Arcia gets it in, but it's too late. Ellsbury turned it on as he looked out to right field to see Arcia moving over and turns a single really into a double.
Great job by Ellsbury getting out of the box quick. And this ball kind of checks up in right field. And as soon as you see that ball check up a little bit, as soon as Ellsbury seen that ball check up, he was going to second base. That's just good. As Jimmy, you talked about fundamental baseball. Those are plays that you just think is a routine double. That scores a run. Those are big plays early in a ball game.
He got out of the box pretty good, and he didn't really hit the ball on the nose of the bat. But still, what happened there, that the ball went out there, it was more of a back liner, and he took advantage of that.
And here's Johnny Gomes standing in as he gets a start in left field tonight. 6 for 26 during spring training. Who helped you out the most in left field, getting you used to the wall and playing defensively in left field at Fenway?
Well, I had Johnny Pesky to work with me, but I didn't really.
Long throw from third is not going to get there in time. Good play at third base to grab it. Gomes reaches at first and taking third is Ellsbury.
I had to learn on my own. Because one thing that I recall, Yaz took me out there one day, and he said, Jimmy, I'm going to show you how to play the wall. He took 2 balls off the wall, and that was it. He said, I can't teach you that because every ball that's come out there is going to be different, and I can't teach you that. You got to go out there and learn on your own. And, of course, you know, if you went out there and you saw what was behind the wall as far as the wood and everything else and the nuts and the bolts that were out there, you can't teach anyone. You just got to go out there and play. And you learn from your mistakes.
I'm sure there are some mistakes that take place during that time over the years, and you think about the years that Yaz played, and that has been an incredible position over the years for the Red Sox, and you're a big part of that.
Well, thank you. And, you know, they probably, before me, they probably had 2 left fielders out there that probably could make home in our team, you know, but they...
Well, nice play at third base there by Jamie Carroll.
Very good play by Carroll, and an even better play by Ellsbury. He saw the ball hit in the hole down the line, and immediately he takes third base. And those are the fundamental things that you're talking about. You see this ball hit by Gomes down the line. Ellsbury right away takes off. Carroll comes up and makes a good strong throw. Not much of a chance on Gomes, but Ellsbury just walks into third. If he hesitates, he doesn't go to third base. Now you got first and third and nobody out.
So runners at the corners, nobody out in Pedroia with a count of 1-1. Dustin batting out of the 3 spot. And I think that's going to be one of the interesting things heading into the beginning of the season is now we got a new manager, John Farrell, for the Red Sox. What is the Red Sox lineup going to look like? That's something Red Sox Nation worries a lot about during spring training.
I've been watching this young guy since he was a freshman at Arizona State playing for Pat Murphy when I used to go there and work out, and he swung just like that. He was just smaller as a freshman and swung like crazy, up shoot, swinging. And I thought, you're going to hurt yourself, man.
But here's a guy can bat 1 to 4, 1 to 5. He can bat 1 to 5. And I just noticed the swing that he took. He tried to hit that ball to right field. And I love it because look at the gap that he got. If he hits the ball to the right side, L's going to score, and we got a chance for first and third. So that was almost like a little fundamentals that we were talking about.
He was primarily hit second on the Red Sox order. Do you think there's a best spot for Dustin Pedroia in this order? Make a difference?
I think that when Dustin comes to the ballpark, Farrell got one thing in mind. I got to find 7 more guys I got to put in there. He knows Dustin's going to be in there. You know, got the pitch and what have you, but he knows that Dustin's going to be in there, and you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's such a big thing. When you talk about players and you talk about star players and you talk about guys with big hearts, here's a ground ball to second base. See if the Twins' young infield can turn it over, and they do.
They do. A run scores. Ellsbury in the back door, and the Red Sox take a 1-0 lead.
But it's so important for your star players. I know, Jimmy, you played every day. When I got to the big leagues, Kirby Puckett was our star player. You could write his name in the lineup every day. Pedroia you know, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he may have the biggest heart on the field today. And, you know, if there's a baseball player, that's it. That's where you start your team, and he's one of them.
You know, he's sort of like a giant. Because if you look at Dustin, the first thing they talk about is his height and what he weighs and everything else, and playing second base. And here's a guy who's the MVP and rookie of the year. So that tells you how big he is.
It is amazing. You see that little guy with that big swing. You've got to say somewhere along the line somebody tried to talk him out of that big swing, but he's still got it.
This guy right here,
Ron Coomer
he was a freshman in college. I tried to talk him out. So that's why I'm up here in the booth and I'm not coaching.
Well, he was an MVP, as it turned out. It worked out with that big swing.
He did pretty good in the Big Ten or Pac-10 too. I think.
Another guy with a big swing is Mike Napoli, who's had a good spring for the Red Sox so far. He's 7 for 17 with 2 home runs, and he's got a lot of power.
Yeah, this is a big pickup for you guys. You know, obviously the Red Sox are looking to fill a few holes going into this season. And to me, you did a very good job with some of the pickups that you did this year.
Escobar's throw is in plenty of time to get Napoli. The Red Sox score a run. We're through 1 tonight from JetBlue Park at Fenway South. Sox have the lead as we get ready for the top of the second inning. The New York Jets probably not on that plane, but it is JetBlue Park, and it is a JetBlue plane on what is a terrific night tonight in Fort Myers. 75 degrees, humidity at 22%, and more the same expected the rest of the night. Clear skies here in Fort Myers. We've been talking about outfield positions, and with more, here's Jenny Dell.
That's right, Donna. We got a question from Radio Dave, and Dave wants to know, Jim Rice, do you think it's too early to bring Jackie Bradley Jr. up to the big leagues? This is something that John Farrell has talked a lot about because of his impressive spring training so far. John Farrell said that he would be served well to get some at-bats in the minor leagues before he comes up. Do you guys agree?
Well, you asked Radio Dave where we're going to play him. That's the key thing. You know, in order to bring someone up, you don't want this young man to sit on the bench. He's got to play every day. And of course, he's in a position now that he got to learn all the pitches. He got to learn all the ballparks. I think maybe another year in AAA will be good for him. And of course, you don't know what they're going to do with Ellsbury, but still, I think another year will be very good for him.
But you got to be like what you're seeing from him right now so far.
Oh yes, I like that, but still, where's he going to play?
Right. There's no
so. That's the key thing right there. I mean, he's making a name for himself, and at least he got the Red Sox eyes open, and also he can have other teams' eyes open. So he doesn't have to play for the Red Sox, but still, I think he's got to go out and play another year.
Well, tonight, questions for Jim Rice, Ron Coomer. You can ask them #outfield. As this one is left side, and Middlebrooks will cut it off from Marrero. His throw in time to retire Arcia for the first out of the second inning. And again, the #outfield. Join the conversation here tonight. And Johnny Gomes, part of that outfield for the Red Sox. And Jim, the Red Sox spent a good amount of time adding to this roster during the offseason. Johnny Gomes, one of those guys. David Ross, one of those guys. And Shane Victorino as well. Some pretty good guys, character guys, brought onto the team this year.
Well, you know, like you can have a good ball team, a great ball team, and Ron and I know that It starts in the clubhouse. It starts in the clubhouse, and you got to have fundamentals. And when you have fundamentals and guys in the clubhouse, you got to know who your leaders are. You got to have someone to come in and say, look, guy, I'm out here doing my job. We got to shake it up. We are the Boston Red Sox. We got to represent the Boston Red Sox. We got to represent the city. We got to represent our family. And, of course, the guys are paying us this big money. We got to go out and play some baseball. And that's the key thing.
Well, I'm sure some of the teams you were on, chemistry-wise, were they at the best when you were there?
Well, there were times we had very good chemistry with certain clubs, and certain clubs didn't. I know the year I went over to New York and played with the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams and Posada. Very good chemistry. This ball's hooked down the left field line, foul. But very good chemistry, and exactly what Jim said. They were about winning. I know when I got to the Twins, Kirby Puckett was a character guy. He was a character and a character guy. And he wanted to win, and he knew how to win. And it was part of his job to teach some of us young guys how to play the game the right way. Some of your pickups, Ross, I've played with him when he was a rookie. Very quality guy. Get a strikeout right here, Joe Benson. But I think, you know, Napoli and some of the guys that you picked up are all accustomed to playing October baseball, and I think that's the important thing.
Johnny Gomes, a guy that last year the Oakland A's, to a man, said was their leader, and they were a real surprise team last year. He didn't play a lot either in the playoffs. He won a bat in the playoff series against the Tigers. There's another strikeout for DeBron. He's got 2 Ks in an inning and 2/3, and here's Brian Dozier. Where does Dozier fit in on your club this season?
Well, Dozier's a guy that played shortstop last year and was kind of handed the job at short for a while. Was a little inconsistent defensively. He can swing the bat at times, got some pop in his bat. And then Florimone came up when Dozier got sent down and played very well at short. And now this year, Gardy has moved Dozier to second base. And it looks like to me so far, Dozier is going to be the guy.
This one hit well to left. Gomes going back. He will play it off the wall. A bit of a deke there, but Dozier still headed to second base. And he will get there standing with a 2-out double, a wall ball double to left.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Dozier is a guy that can reach the seats in left field. This pitch down and into Dozier, and he just drops the head of the bat on it. It hits this ball off the green monster in left field. And to me, he's got very good hands. He just needs to be consistent. That's what you're looking for defensively from your 2 middle guys in the infield. If he can be consistent, he's going to be the everyday second baseman.
Well, tonight we come to you from JetBlue Park at Fenway South in Fort Myers, Florida. It's the Twins and Red Sox. Don Orsillo, Dick Kramer, along with Hall of Famer Jim Rice, All-Star Ron Coomer with us, and Jenny Dell also here tonight as Red Sox continue their Grapefruit League schedule. This one sent foul down the right field line by Eduardo Escobar with 2 outs here in the second inning. Escobar so far 11 for 32 during the spring. In the dirt, and that one almost hit him as it evens at 1-1. Well, Jim, your thoughts on the team heading into the season and John Farrell returning here to the Red Sox? It seems that from a pitching standpoint, he has really helped out Lester, Buchholz, some of the guys that he's worked with in the past, had a chance to work with them again.
But not only pitching, I think it starts in the clubhouse. I think it starts with Farrell had been here before, and of course the way the season went last year, it's entirely different spring for the players, and of course everyone that's involved with the Red Sox. Like I said, he's been here before. I think you're probably going to see more out of the players now. You're not going to see, I guess, what you saw last year. You're probably going to see more fundamentals. You're going to see more guys that are willing to go that extra yard. Last year, there was no yards. It was giving yards back. So I think this year's going to be different.
It seems like there's a level of respect that was perhaps not there before, but they know this guy.
Yes. And they got to respect themselves.
He's been a part of winning championships in a Red Sox uniform with some of these guys that are on this bench. And I think that's the one thing that he brings. The fundamentals, but that winning spirit that they've had here for a while that they lost last year.
Jim, you are in the clubhouse every day. Of course, you're here as an instructor as well. What is your feel on the mood so far of this team coming in?
I think you're probably going to see a little better mood as far as another week to go in spring training when everybody's going to be ready to, hey, let's go. We're ready to go. So now I think that they have it. They know that Farrell is their manager. You don't have to worry about anything as far as what went on last year. You got to be focused on this year, and you just got to go out there and get off to a good start. Not get off to a bad start, but get off to a good start.
0-6 the last 2 years, and certainly they're trying to avoid that. Red Sox do begin the year on the road. Of course, Yankee Stadium for the first 3, and then it is north the border to Toronto to take on the Blue Jays for 3 before returning home. And this season for the Twins coming in, Ron Gardenhire trying to get away from last year's losses. Ended up a total of 96 losses last year. Very unusual for a Ron Gardenhire team.
It was, and it was a struggle for the ball club. Our schedule, we played the East, went out East and played mainly out there early in the season, get off to a poor start, and by the end of April, we were unable to get back into a winning mode. And, you know, we had some injuries. And the other thing is, we've talked about the word fundamentals has been brought up a lot already in this first couple innings. That was the one thing that started slipping away from some of the young players with the Twins last year, and they didn't play that way. And I think Gardy, going into spring training this year, knew with the staff that was going to be the thing that they were going to impress upon everybody the most. And I anticipate you seeing what everybody talked Twins baseball again this season.
You may see a lot of fundamentals as far as with the younger guys. The young guys got to get their fundamentals down because they're up right now where we gotta get things going. And the way we're going to get things going by bringing our rookies up and say, look, your job is not to hit home runs, fundamentals, make the routine plays, and just go out and do your job. Have fun. These guys now are not necessarily the Red Sox, but a lot of teams are not having fun. When we played, we had fun because we knew that if we didn't get the guy over, somebody would come in and tell you, say, hey, look, you didn't do your job. And they're going to tell you in a nice way. Then the next time, they're going to embarrass you. And no one enjoys being embarrassed.
Grounders softly down the third baseline, fouls. It hangs at 2-2 to Escobar.
Good at bat by Escobar right here. He's fouled off some good pitches, a couple pitches in, a few pitches away. An Escobar guy, you know, trying to win a spot on this roster as a utility player. He's swung the bat very good so far this spring, but he's had a quality at bat. He's tried to shoot some balls the other way. Pitch in, he's kind of fought off with a 2-2 count.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up with Darren Mastriani waiting on deck for the Twins. Ron already has 2 Ks in an inning and 2/3. And make it 3. Able to strike out Escobar on the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Through an inning and a half from JetBlue Park, the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead.
Welcome back to JetBlue Park. Bottom of the second, Red Sox up by 1. And we've been asking fans at home for their questions via Twitter for Ron Coomer and Jim Rice about the team's outfield. And we got a question here from Spencer. Does the Red Sox outfield have more speed than the Twins? Jim, you start first.
I don't think speed is a big issue. I think you got to play position-wise. You got to play gap to gap, and of course you got to anticipate the ball is always hit to you. So it's jump on the ball more than anything else. Normally your center field will probably have better speed than your other guys, but you still got to play off each other.
And we really hope so in Minnesota that our center fielder has more speed than our corner outfielders, because Mr. Hicks can fly, but our corner outfield guys are not going to be speed guys. Parmalay's probably going to be our right fielder 80% of the time. And Willingham, obviously, our left fielder, had a great year offensively and is a big, strong, power-hitting guy. And so the guy in center field, he's going to have a little ground to cover in Minnesota, but that's okay.
But if you look at it, when I played, you had myself in left, you had Freddie in center, Dwight. We were not speed demons. We just knew how to play. And we played off each other. You know, Freddie and I played together in the minor leagues. And so I played off Freddie. Freddie played off of me. And, of course, I didn't have too far to run because I had to wall behind it. It was coming back to me anyway. So.
Well, we're always talking about positioning in center field at Fenway Park. Of course, they have the triangle here as well at JetBlue Park. That's always kind of tough for center fielders. But in left field, I always found it interesting where you stand. We saw Manny Ramirez so close to the shortstop at one point. He had moved all the way in. I mean, where did you play primarily in left field at Fenway Park, defensively, standing-wise?
I sort of split the difference. I probably played right over the R out there. So what I try to do is make sure that I gave the line away, because once that ball hits the corner, the ball is going to shoot out. So the shortstop and the left fielder got to come out. So I had to make sure that I couldn't go over there too fast as far as getting to the line, because the ball get down, it could hang up, and then the guy was going to get a triple. But when in doubt, like your Yastrzemski said, play deep and cut across. Keep the ball in front of you.
Words to live by for a Little League outfielder. Play deep and cut across.
That's right. Keep the ball in front of you.
Well, Jared Saltalamacchia leading it off here in the inning. Is fouled to pitch off as count goes full.
Don, now there's another thing that Jim just said that, you know, you got to take with what he said. He had Jim Rice in left.
Right.
Fred Lynn in center, and Dwight Evans in right for a long time.
Pretty good outfield.
Yeah, I would say there would be a lot of managers like to write that outfield in right now.
Parmalee flips to Hendricks for the out at first base. And then there's one down here in the second. Well, there's one guy that you guys both know and both organizations know very well, the Twins and the Red Sox, and that is David Ortiz. And certainly we understand there's some pretty good news that David's going to take an aggressive batting practice on Monday. You've been around David coming down here. He was not 100% when he arrived. That's a tough injury to come back from, especially a big man at his age. How is he doing as far as you know?
David's, I mean, he can be hurt, but he's still going to motivate the team. He's still going to be in there. He's going to be happy and everything else, but he wants to be out on the field. But I was watching David in the two segments before when he with the Twins and then with the Red Sox. The home run that he hit when he was with the Twins, he was more on the balls of his feet, his foot at the time. And normally, when you throw a baseball, you're always on the ball of your foot. And so when he was with us, you see that he rocks back on that heel. And so somewhere, David got to change as far as going back to the old way as far as Minnesota, take a little pressure off that heel. And if you, I mean, both of them are good swings, but he's got to do something different, take the pressure off the heel.
When David was playing with the Minnesota Twins, he was my teammate. Our objective as a hitting group was to hit the ball to the middle of the field, hit the ball the other way. And David has talked about that. Let's get a ground ball to third to Carroll. Long throw. Very nice play. But David then was a middle of the field and would turn on a ball if he had to. To me, the big difference that when he came to Boston was he looked to hook the ball more and could still use this ball. Now, that ball is hit a long way, but that ball, he's still got an approach going to the middle of the diamond.
Did you see on that foot?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yep. No, he's on the balls of his feet. Absolutely.
And watch this here. See?
Yeah.
He's turning around. And that's where all the pain is coming. That's where he tore all the ligaments out.
And that's a big, strong guy with a great swing. He's made a few adjustments in his swing to be more productive, hit some more home runs, drive in more runs, but it's come with a little bit of a price, as Jimmy said.
Well, two down, Mike Karp is batting. We'll take a look at that swing again.
See him land on the balls of his feet, and that's where he's at. You see his weight out over the balls of his feet.
This one jolted out to center. Hicks on the run with a diving catch. Well, look there at what Aaron Hicks can do. Twins fans got to like what they see right there. A nice running grab to end the inning.
Okay, now let's run that back. We're going to show you one of those highlights. We're going to show you one of those highlights. Now, look here.
Dick Kramer will be in the chair when we come back. It's 1-0 Boston.
We got to show the beginning. We're not
Aaron Hicks heading towards the triangle here at Fenway, JetBlue Park at Fenway South, making a diving catch. Let's take a look at the break he got.
That's what we talked about earlier. I mean, he came in and then he went back. But it's just like anything. If you go out there and you get to jump off the ball, a lot of who was that? Willie Mays said that if you have to dive for a ball, you're out of position. So that tell you right there he was out of position. With the speed that this man carried, he doesn't have to do that.
Hold on now. You're talking about Willie Mays, and now you're talking about the rest of the world.
Well, we're talking about, too, learn how to read the ball and get jumps on the ball.
Dick Bramer, Jim Rice, Ron Coomer taking you through innings 3 and 4 here at JetBlue Park. The Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. Darren Mastroianni will lead things off for the Twins. He'll be followed by Aaron Hicks and then Jamie Carroll against Felix Dubron. Mastroianni playing in left field for the Twins. Takes a bunt and takes a ball up and away. Mastroianni, one of the candidates for the center field job for the Twins, along with Joe Benson, who's the designated hitter, and Hicks, who's been there most of the time.
Well, Hicks has. He obviously makes the big catch in center field last inning, but he's also been very consistent at the plate. Mastroianni, a guy that people kind of thought might have a chance to win the starting job to open the season as he pops one up to first base. Napoli makes the play at first base, but Mastroianni, a guy who also brings a lot to the table for the Minnesota Twins. He does a good job at the plate. He's very good out in the outfield and can go get him. But to me, Dick, the one thing that he brings is that base stealing threat when he gets on the base. He is absolutely fearless in stealing bases. If he steals second base, he will steal third if you're not paying attention to him on the next pitch.
He's retired. Actually, a nice catch by Napoli. It's kind of a tough sky to catch and watch a pop-up here. Napoli stayed with it, made the catch. And here is Aaron Hicks, who has emerged as the top candidate to play in center field. To the surprise of many, the Twins traded Ben Revere and Denard Span in the offseason, opening up the center field spot. Hicks is the front runner, and he's trying to make the jump, Jim, from Double-A. And I know you came to the big leagues in 1975 out of Triple-A. Is it an extra challenge for a guy like Hicks, who's yet to play a game at Triple-A, to jump to the big leagues?
If the talent is there, why not use this young man? And of course, what you did in the offseason in order to get this young man, they're telling you right there, we're not necessarily giving you the job, but we want you to go out and earn it. Let's see what you can do.
There's a shot down the line. It's a fair ball. There's a challenge for a left fielder here at JetBlue Park, with the fans section jutting out right to the line. And the shortstop, Marrero, almost had to retrieve the ball in short left field.
Well, and this is what Hicks has brought to the table. Left-handed last weekend, we watched him hit a bullet down the right field line. This time a pitch inside to him right-handed, and he's able to get on top of the ball and drive this ball down the left field line. And Jimmy, in looking at this young guy, he's loaded with talent, but he can cover the inside pitch and the hard pitch inside from both sides of the plate, and that to me is something rare for a young guy.
It is, but you like to say, you said that we are taught to hit fastballs. We're taught to hit fastball coming all through up minor leagues and normally high school. When you take batting practice, everything in fastball. So my thing, hey kid, you got a chance to be a pretty good player. Let's go and hit some curveballs. Let's work on the weakest part of your swing mechanics. Your swing mechanics right now are curveball, and you got one of the guys who can throw the best curveballs. Oh, they have Burt come out throwing the curveball. I mean, this is the best curveball man I've ever faced.
I don't know. You might get that shoulder sore, and then that golf game might go in.
Hey,
but you are correct.
Coombe can attest to this. Even before Bert's time in the fantasy camp this year, the Twins brought in Camilo Pascual, who in his era in the 60s had maybe the best curveball in the American League, and he's still got a good one at age 78. Carroll fouling off his front leg. It's one strike with Hicks at second and one away here in the Twins' third. And a strike on the outside corner.
It's amazing how kids come to spring training, they don't want to hit curveballs. Everybody want to hit fastball and see how far they can hit them. But son, you got the scouts up here, you got the pitchers out there. The pitcher's going to say, hey, I'm not going to throw you a fastball. Let's work on some breaking balls.
I'm a pitcher, and Jim Rice is coming up with runners in scoring position. I'm not throwing him a fastball.
Carroll takes a breaking ball off the plate. And I think, Ron, you followed the Twins last year. That's kind of what happened to Brian Dozier a little bit. Early on, teams challenged him, fastballs. They found out he could hit the fastball, and then before long, they adapted to him, and he wasn't able to make the adaptation and show the ability to hit the off-speed stuff.
Well, and to Jim's point, early in his time up in the big leagues, he hit a home run to left field. And all of a sudden, he got a little happy with the left field spot and forgot the other two fields to hit the ball, and really lost the right center gap where he just never stayed on the ball enough. And once teams with all the scouting reports figure that out, now you get a steady diet. They tease you inside, let you speed up a little bit, and then they just wear you out away.
2-2 to Carroll, 1 away. You saw Chris Parmalee on deck, and Carroll slices one foul into the seats. Carroll, as you said before, trying to win a job as a utility player for the Twins. They've almost got a redundancy with the veteran Carroll, who can play third, short, and second, but that's kind of what Eduardo Escobar does as well.
He does, and it's going to be an interesting decision for Ron Gardenhire. The one thing that Jamie brings to the table, if one of the young guys in the middle who starts doesn't do their job, you know you've got a veteran player that can play 4 days a week. Good changeup right there, and gets Carroll out in front for a strikeout. But you get a veteran player who can do multiple things and really bring a lot to the table, not only on the field, but like you said, Jimmy, in the clubhouse.
As Chris Parmalee comes to the box, we have a question from Jenny Dell.
That's right. This question is for Jim Rice, and it's a good one. Jim, the question is, which Red Sox outfielder could guard the Green Monster with the same intensity as you?
I don't think they have anyone in the organization. I think, I think, Jenny, you have to look at one situation. When you're talking about the history of the Red Sox left fielders out there, we have not had a left-handed thrower out there. So I would probably say you can't get a left-handed thrower out there and be successful as far as the right-handed throwers that we have had out there. Because when you have a left-handed thrower, you got too many angles. If you go down to the left field wall, if you go down to the corner, the left fielder, if you're a left-handed thrower, you got to turn all the way around to get to second base. If he's a right-handed thrower, second base and third base and home plate is always in front of him.
1-1 now to Parmalee, who was called out on strikes his first time up. Parmalee playing some at first base. Justin Morneau is back in camp with the Twins from Team Canada, but not in the lineup today. Twins fans can expect Justin to be in the lineup again. Justin had a really good World Baseball Classic experience. And Parmalee skies one to center field. And Ellsbury retreats to Andy Inning. A one-out double for Aaron Hicks against Felix Dubron. No damage done. It's still 1-0 Boston. Gorgeous night here in Fort Myers, Florida. Red Sox leading 1-0. Bottom of the third inning. Dick Bramer, Jim Rice, Ron Coomer, joined now by former Twin and former Red Sox outfielder Tom Vernansky, now the Twins hitting coach. Tom, some encouraging signs, I guess, from the likes of Aaron Hicks and Brian Dozier so far.
Yeah, it's nice to see the young guys come out. They're not only are they trying to go out and play the game, but they're trying to earn a spot, which is, for young guys coming into spring training, that there's a lot of pressure involved. So we're trying to make sure that they go out and just try to be as natural as they can.
Tommy Hicks, last Friday we did the game left-handed, really covered the pitch inside and hit some balls to right field on the right field line. Tonight he has a good at-bat and gets the walk his first at-bat and then gets the fastball in and is able to turn on it. This young guy has good quality mechanics from both sides of the plate.
He's pretty solid up there, and you know, it's funny because the right side is his natural side, and if you ever see the kid hit a golf ball, you know, I'll be surprised if too many people keep going in on him because he can get to that pitch and he'll hit it hard. You know, his left side where he's more fluid and he has to work to get to that inside pitch, but he's got some good mechanics, good fast hands, so it's fun to watch him hit.
Tom, you've had the benefit of working with some of these guys in the minor leagues. Has that been of any assistance to you at all as you've made the transition to a big league coach?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you already build up a relationship, and that's half the battle about being a coach, is that they need to know they're on your side. We're sitting here working together, and there's a trust factor that's already been there, established. So you come in here, and with, like I said, these young kids that are already trying to make and earn a job here, they can kind of come in and trust you, and they're going to go out and have some fun, and I just try to help keep them loose and do some drills, make them get better, and have them go out and compete.
One hopper to Escobar. He makes the play. Sweeney retired. Devin Marrero coming up. Well, Tom Bernatski had a lot of home runs in Minnesota. In Boston, he's remembered for the catch. That's Ozzie Guillen at the plate, isn't it?
Bruno, that's pretty good going into that corner, brother.
Hey, that was do or die right there, Kuhn. That could have been the GOAT just as well as the hero.
Was that Ozzie Guillen, the batter, I believe it was?
Yeah, well, Jeff Reardon was on the hill, and it was a positive count, and we knew that Ozzie liked to try to cheat and pull a little bit in that time, and so I'd already moved over a couple steps, anticipating him doing that, and so I'd already had a head start going towards that wall.
Bruno, what you were talking earlier today about Dozier as when we were off the air, and Brian was a guy who had some success early when he got called up, because this ball goes just past Dozier, up the middle for a base hit. But he got a little pull happy early when he got called up, and all of a sudden he got exposed a little bit with some breaking balls and really didn't use the whole field. You were just talking about what you were doing with Dozier. Can you explain to the fans?
You know, Kuhn, when you come up as a young ball player, that you're susceptible to a lot of things, and instead of just focusing on being aggressive to the pitch you like, his brain was kind of spinning. So what we did is just kind of simplify what he was going to do up there, and to make sure that he gets his backside through the pitch every swing he takes, wherever it goes, you know, because he can drive the balls to right center. That target field, you know, those are going to be gaps, but those are doubles or triples. He's got some pull side power. So the other day we just wanted to get out and kind of remind him what his body's supposed to feel like and get the hips through the ball, regardless of whether it's, you know, going to pull or drive the ball to the gap. And tonight was nice. You know, he got a good fastball down. He drove the ball well off the wall, so that was a good sign.
Runner at first, one out. The batter is Jacoby Ellsbury, who was responsible for the first run of the game. An alert base running play, maybe stretching a single into a double and then advancing to third on the infield hit, scoring on the ground ball double play. And the Twins here, of course, are hoping for a double play, but Tom Bernatski, also known, maybe not a positive note, I believe, Tom.
I know where you're going with this, Dick.
I believe Tom hit into the record-setting triple play when the Twins turned two of them in one game.
I still have nightmares about that.
Well, we're going to show it.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. All right, here it is. The Twins had already turned one triple play.
Yeah, I still see Gaetti picking that.
Another triple play.
Everybody that's hitting to a triple play, we all feel it.
Oh,
believe me,
yeah.
I see that, and I see nightmares too. That's not good.
I still see the pitch. It was a positive count, and I turned on it, and I just seen G-Man move one step to the line, and as soon as I hit it, I go, oh no.
Now, did you hit into the first one or the second one?
No, I hit into the first one.
Yeah, in 1990.
Then,
right.
And then Jody Reed came up and did the exact same thing. And you know, and you watch G-Man, you know how he plays, and sure enough, it was a positive count. G-Man one step to the line, backhand. Here it goes again.
Have you ever hit in one?
I did, in the Metrodome. Off Mr. Abbott, he threw that little cutter down and in, one hopper to third. I was halfway down the line, and I was out, and it was a triple play.
1-1 to Ellsbury, and he drives one foul down the left field line.
Tommy,
Tom,
we got Jimmy Rice in the booth. Jimmy, did you ever hit into a triple play?
I probably have. but I don't have any nightmares, though.
Oh, man. Now, see, we talk about somebody being able to drop the head on people right there. Jimmy, right, you could do that. I saw Jimmy launch a lot of those balls when he got strong on that backside.
Those are what I remember, Bruno.
Oh, yeah. Those are the fun ones.
1-2 to Ellsbury. Well, Tom, you and I had a chance to chat last Friday before the game. And I asked you about your time in Boston. You said you really enjoyed your time playing for the Red Sox.
Well, when you sit back and you look at some of the organizations that are out there and some of the greatest ballparks, be able to be the part to play in, Wrigley being there and Fenway. I mean, every time you just walk from our locker room down under the tunnel and you step up and you see the Green Monster, it's a wonderful sight. You know, it's just, you know, the people that play there, the history that's there, and so many great players that have been out on that field. It's just awesome to be out there.
Not a triple play and not a double play. Ellsbury flashing down the line is able to stay out of the double play and keep the inning alive.
Sharp hit ball right here to Carroll by Ellsbury, but because he hit that ball the other way, he's able to get out of the box. Good turn by Dozier, but Speedy Ellsbury just beats out the throw.
So Ellsbury with a hustle double, hustling to stay out of a double play there. Jim, I heard you in the first couple innings talking about fundamentals, and that's one of the things you look for is beating it down the line on a ground ball.
Yes, I mean, when you got speed, why not use it? It's to your advantage. And of course, it helped us out when we can come up, maybe instead of coming up 3 times or 4 times, maybe be able to come up 5 times just by doing that.
Johnny Gomes got an infield hit, advanced Ellsbury to third. Now here's a little looper to short right field. And Dozier glides toward the line and makes the catch to end inning. Our thanks to Twins hitting coach Tom Bernansky with the Red Sox and Twins playing a ball game, and the Red Sox leading at 1-0 after 3.
Oh boy, Dozier, nice play.
Nothing Boston, moving to the 4th inning, and let's head down to the field. Jenny Dell.
That's right, an injury update on some of these Red Sox players, starting with reliever Franklin Morales. He had a bulging disc in his lower back, was in Boston on Wednesday to get an epidural injection. John Farrell told reporters there's no target date for Morales, increasing the likelihood that he will open the season on the DL. And David Ortiz, as we talked before, he's scheduled to resume batting practice on Monday after being shut down for the soreness in his heels. Ortiz will then graduate to running again. That still hasn't been planned. Still no word on his return. And shortstop Stephen Drew hitting the helmet on a pitch in March 7th, over a week ago, still dealing with concussion-like symptoms. He'll undergo some more impact tests, but he still needs to pass that MLB mandated test before being cleared to resume baseball activities. He hasn't played in 8 days, guys.
Jenny, thank you very much. Ryan Domet skying one behind second base. Pedroia out, now giving away to Ellsbury for the catch in the first out of the 4th inning. And Ron Coomer, the Twins fans know very well how ominous that concussion situation can be. Would appear to be a glancing blow to Stephen Drew, and now he's suffering concussion symptoms. And a couple of years ago, Justin Morneau slid into second base, and it's a play you see a half dozen times every night, but that led to the concussion that pretty much has ruined 2 of Morneau's seasons.
Well, and it's a very serious injury. Drew obviously has not been able to pass that concussion test. Justin Morneau, on what seemed to be a fairly routine play at second base, takes a knee in the side of the head And the play continues on, and Justin can't keep going. And when the camera hit, you could tell he had a major issue. And like you said, Dick, he really, has had a couple years where it's been an issue of him trying to get back and get clear-headed and understanding that he's going to be able to just go out and play baseball.
A couple of slow breaking balls for called strikes to Oswaldo Arcia, who bounced to third his first time up. And a fastball up and away. Jim, you ever suffer a concussion, hit by a pitch in the head or anything like that?
I've been hit by a pitch. Of course, Nolan Ryan got me a couple times. And the worst pitch was probably 1975 when I had my hand broken. I couldn't play in the 75 series. But I think a lot of guys, as far as being hit in the head and even just hitting the shoulder, a lot of guys are trying to cheat. They don't know how to cheat, and they don't know how to turn away from the ball. We were taught to roll away from the ball. These guys are rolling into the ball because they're trying to cheat. They're not loading up.
Well, and what you're talking about is guys, the game, the pitcher's game has been out over the plate, pitches away, guys are leaning out over. And you see a lot of guys falling backwards instead of rolling that front shoulder to protect and get in your face, going towards the backstop as opposed to your face being out towards the pitcher. And to me, that was one of the hardest things I had to learn. I was a guy that had a hard time not tracking the ball, and then by the time I started to roll, it was almost too late. I figured it out, or else I was going to get hit.
He was like a fastball in.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I wasn't, but one ball underneath the jawbone, and it'll teach you quick to get that thing out of there. That's for sure.
J.D. Durbin, named from the past in Twins history, warming up in the Boston bullpen. Down low, and it's 1-2. Called a strike to Benson. The count 1-2. J.D. Durbin, a prospect in the Twins organization. 8-10 years ago, he has bounced around, persevered. Up a knuckleball. There's a squibber off the end of the bat.
Durbin, a guy, Dick, when we saw him coming up to the big leagues or trying to get to the big leagues with the Twins, a real power arm, and just never really panned out for the Minnesota Twins. And
1-2 to Benson. Down and in, just missing. Benson made solid contact, a couple of foul balls in his first at bat before striking out swinging on the Dubronk curve.
Now, Dick, last week we did the game, and Benson had really been struggling going into the game last Friday. And that Friday game, to me, was something that helped him as he takes a curveball inside, just missing on the inside corner is that pitch. But that was a game that helped him turn the corner, I think, in spring training. Tom Bernansky and Benson, during that batting practice, their sole focus was for him to hit the ball to right center field. He was pulling off everything and striking out a lot, like that pitch where he was out in front a lot. That game, he flew out 3 times to right center field. Even though he got underneath balls and hit fly balls to the outfield, his focus and his front side stayed in, and he hit the ball the other way. Since then, he's obviously swung the bat a little bit better at some hits the other night. But that, to me, was the night that things changed for him.
The fists, one hopper to short. Marrero fires across. Benson retired a 1-2-3-4 for Felix Dubronk, and a 1-0 Boston lead after 4. 1-0 going to the bottom of the fourth inning. Dustin Pedroia will lead things off, but Dick Kramer joined by two right-handed sluggers. Ron Coomer, powerful third baseman, first baseman, sometime outfielder for the Twins, and a Twins all-star with the all-star game at Fenway Park. And then Jim Rice, a magnificent rookie season, 1975, a Hall of Fame career, and a swing that was meant for Fenway Park. Is that fair to say?
No, that was meant for Grand Canyon. just a Fenway Park. We could have played at any ballpark, right?
That's right.
With those two swings we just took, yes, we could have. You just took more of them than I did, that's all.
Pedroia will lead things off. Well, we mentioned at the outset, Jim Rice, slugger in the mid-70s through the 70s into the early 80s. And, of course, you had your success at Metropolitan Stadium, the outdoor ballpark in Minnesota before the Metrodome. And then you, like so many people, had to get used to, if you could ever get used to, indoor baseball at the Metrodome.
Well, but the old ballpark, you had silver seats out there. I mean, you couldn't see anything. The grass was high. You had a chain link fence around. You jump over, you're going to get everything cut on you. And then you had the big scoreboard out there, and you had mosquitoes probably could take your Gatorade and fly away with it.
The mosquitoes haven't gone away, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then at your new ballpark, it's what, Humphrey, whatever it was down there.
Humphrey Metro.
I mean, things had to be going pretty bad for you guys to have Dog Day.
They were going pretty bad. We had Dog Day several times, yes.
Now, what is you bring your dog and you get in half price or what?
I think you paid full price. The dog got in for.
I thought it was August. Just they called it August for us, but Dog Days for some of the teams I played on, because I dragged the team down sometime. But yeah, our new ballpark is phenomenal now. We've moved out of the Metrodome, and Target Field is one of the great places to go watch a game, a great place to play. Surface is phenomenal, great sight lines. We really, we're going to see how it is to play in April 1, after the tough winter we've had in Minnesota. But it's a great ballpark and just a fun place to go to every day.
They always say it's a hitter's ballpark. You're talking about two guys that enjoy hitting. To me, every ballpark was a hitter's ballpark. And when you're going bad, you want to go to a ballpark like Cleveland where nobody's there, and who cares if you go 0 for 4. But you also got a chance to get out of your slump.
Pedroia fighting off a number of pitches against Hendricks. Pedroia bounced into a double play his first time up.
Every ballpark was a hitting ballpark when you got a Hall of Fame career, right. I'll tell you that. That's for sure.
I enjoy playing in Toronto, the old ballpark.
The outdoor ballpark?
Oh, yes. I mean, you look at the fielders. Your left fielder was down. If you sit in the visitor's dugout.
Great at bat for Pedroia and a single to center.
You could only see his knees. Exhibition
Stadium in Toronto before they moved outdoors. The Rogers Center, they call it now, was the Sky Dome.
Look at Mosby going uphill. Then you look at Barfield slatting over to the right. Bales going down here.
Felt like there were a lot of gaps out there.
It was, yeah.
Here's Mike Napoli, bounced to short to end the first inning. Liam Hendricks gave up a couple of hits to start his night, got a big double play, and has managed the game pretty well so far against this Boston lineup. And the throw to first, Pedroia gets back.
Dick, I've liked what Hendricks has done so far tonight. And watching him, when we talked earlier to Steiny and talked about what they're looking for from him is to create an out pitch. Well, you set that out pitch up by being able to attack inside and setting hitters up by throwing in. And then you get swings and misses because you've sped guys up. And so far this spring, Hendricks is making progress with some of the things. He was a little tentative at times pitching last year, strike one, and then he'd pitch around the zone and wouldn't continue to attack hitters. And I think so far tonight you've seen him not get behind hitters too much, and he's attacked the strike zone with all his pitches.
High fastball gets a swing and a miss. 2 strikes to Napoli.
When you talk about pitching, and you as a hitter, are you more apt to be aggressive a hitter by a pitcher taking more time or just trying to get a steady pace? I like a guy to get a steady pace because I'm not going to get out of the box. When you feel like a pitcher's taking his time like that, I think advantage hitter.
Absolutely. And you can tell when a guy's walking the mound and pacing around, he doesn't know what he wants to do on the mound. And he's trying to figure it out. And to me, when you get a guy, he gets right back up on the rubber. He knows what he wants to do. He's going to throw a strike Your defense plays better behind you. The umpire gets into a little rhythm. The game moves better, and I think that's the one thing that our pitching coach, Rick Anderson, is trying to impress on all of our young pitchers is pace the game, get the ball, figure out what you want to throw right away, and let's go and let's play the game. And some of our young guys, I think, are starting to understand that.
In Hendricks' case, he had his elbow cleaned out during the offseason, so there's the physical side of this as well. Had chips taken out and a bone spur shaved off. And so he's trying to get to the point now where he can really let it fly and stretching himself out here, he hopes, through 4 innings. 1-2 the count to Napoli. And a little flare down the right field line. And that'll land just foul.
And that's what we're talking about, Dick. That's a good fastball just under the hands of Napoli. You know, it's not blazing at mid to high 90s, but a 90-mile-an-hour fastball just under the hands of Napoli, where he doesn't get to extend his hands to the hitting zone. That ball beats him inside. And if Hendricks can continue to make pitches in under a guy's hands, it's going to open up the outside, and that's going to be that out pitch that he's looking for. It doesn't have to be a strikeout pitch. It's just got to be a quality out pitch.
1-2 again to Napoli. And he fights off another pitch. Pedroia did that to start the 4th inning. Hendricks will remember an infamous at-bat he had. Here's a look at Jim Rice.
You want to see a guy that could swing the bat, that knew how to use the field. He got a little off-speed pitch up and away. You remember that one? That one probably went over the net.
See, he only think I can hit off-speed.
No, I didn't say that. I played third base. I watched you hit. I knew you could turn on a fastball now.
1-2, and Napoli takes ball 2, 2-2.
Look at this.
All right, Jim Rice, Hall of Famer. Analyze this. Fastball. Right?
See, guys guys are talking about stay inside the ball. We were not taught to stay inside the ball. We were taught to get the barrel of the bat out. What's hitting the ball? The barrel of the bat. Not stay inside. I don't know what stay inside means. Stay inside to me is when you're playing golf, you slice the ball. You got to get the barrel of the bat out front.
All right, but now let me ask you this, because you worked under Walt Briniak for a lot of years.
I worked under Johnny Pesky. Walter wasn't my hitting coach.
Oh, is that
Johnny Pesky?
Okay, but Walt was the designated, the guy who had the title.
Let's do this.
Coach.
Johnny Pesky was my hitting coach. I didn't take anything from Walter Briniak.
Okay.
Nothing. So Johnny Pesky.
Backhanded again, nicely by Carroll, and out at second base. Nice dig at second base by Brian Dozier. And for the second time in the early innings, Jamie Carroll's done a nice job backhanding the ball behind the third base bag.
Well, this is just a great pick by Jamie on an in-between hop, and he's able to get to his feet and make a great throw, quick throw to second base, and Dozier going out there and playing first base goes out and picks that ball at second. That's an outstanding play. For the second baseman, if you know you're not turning the double play, you get in the same situation as a first baseman would to try to go out and catch that ball. Great play by Carroll at third base to get rid of that ball in a hurry, and Dozier understanding the situation and making sure he catches that ball and gets it out.
I think you saw Carroll afterwards pointing to Dozier and tapping himself on the chest saying, my bad. He was still upset he didn't make a good throw on the fly.
But he made a good play.
Yes. Here's Saltalamacchia taking ball 1. So 1 out, 1 on. And Saltalamacchia, who hit a ground ball to Parmalee his first time up, gets a second chance against Liam Hendricks. Sliced foul, 1-1. But that was Walt Briniak's approach, more of an inside-out approach that you were talking about before.
But he worked with Wade Boggs, Dwight Evans, Rich Gavin, guys who swing, windmill or whatever. But I was a two-handed guy, and that's the way I was taught all through my minor league, high school, and Johnny Pesky taught me. And what was good for me, I stuck with it. Maybe it was good for other guys, but it wasn't good for me.
Deep drive to right field, and gone. A home run for Saltalamacchia. A 2-run jolt against Hendricks, and the Red Sox take a 3-0 lead.
Well, and we're talking about some home run swings and how to swing the bat. And you're going to see this ball in the middle of the plate to Saltalamacchia, and he just turns on this pitch. This ball up in the zone just a little bit and stays in the middle. And even in spring training, you're not going to miss those.
That's right. He didn't stay inside of the ball. It was the barrel of the bat. out front. And those are the key things. I think when you as a hitting instructor, you tell a guy to stay inside, I think you really have to explain it to him. It's not really stay inside. The barrel of the bat is hitting the ball. You got to get the barrel of the bat out front. And what I try to do is tell my guys to keep it simple. You catch out front, you field out front, you throw out front, you run out front. Why you want to hit a ball behind the plate? Just keep it simple.
And I think that's part of the thing that is misunderstood by a lot of young coaches and young teaching high school or little league. We talk about staying inside the ball. Well, inside the ball to a big league hitter, a big league hitting coach means something totally different than what sometimes is explained, because you just hear it once or twice and you don't get the real explanation. You're going to see this swing. Now watch the barrel of the bat as it makes contact. That barrel is out in front of his hands and turning on the ball. That's a great swing. But if you say stay inside the ball, a young hitting coach for high school or lower levels isn't going to know what you're talking about with that.
I tell you one better than that. Squash the bug. How many times have you heard that?
Well, you hear it all the time with the kids, that's for sure.
Nolan Ryan throwing, squash the bug. You're right.
Nolan Ryan throwing, you just make sure you get in that prevent stance. Prevent from getting hurt.
1-2 to Will Middlebrooks. Bouncer to third his first time up. And strike on the outside corner. Number 2. So Hendricks trying to recover from the long home run off the bat of Salta-Lamakia, trying to complete 4, maybe pitch into the 5th inning. And much better pitch to get strike 3 here on Middlebrooks.
Good little fastball that came back out over the outside corner for strike 3 on Middlebrook. And that's important for Hendricks, even though he gives up the 2-run homer and a long home run, to come right back, get the next guy out, and let's get back into the ball game. Another very good pitch, 2-seam fastball running away, and that's where you see a guy maturing. He doesn't lose composure and now start walking guys who are pitching around the zone. He's attacking the strike zone again.
But you know, in spring training, you as a pitcher, even as a hitter, I'm not going to try to really embarrass a pitcher. I know he's working on something, I'm working on something. I got the teammate. So what I'm trying to do is mainly get myself mentally prepared to play the game for 162 games. So if I go out there and get a couple of hits, I'm going to try to be aggressive and do all the things that I want to do during the season. But I'm just going to go out there and just be myself. When you look at Middlebrooks, you notice that the first thing he did, he dropped his hand and dropped his head. He lost sight of the ball. So telling me right there he's not aggressive, and he's got to anticipate that everything's going to be a strike.
Hendricks tries to get another fastball on the outside corner. He misses by inches, and it's 1-2 to Mike Carp. And a liner to center field. Aaron Hicks made a diving catch out towards the triangle here at JetBlue Park at Fenway South. Now a fastball up high. That's 2-2. I mentioned it last Friday that Aaron Hicks, who has not played at Fenway Park, would be like a Johnny Gomes for the Red Sox, getting a chance to play in front of the monster here. Center field at Fenway Park has to be the most peculiar center field to play, and here right away Hicks gets a chance out by the triangle.
Yes, but like with his speed, you know, like I say, I'd rather for a guy to be able to come in fast instead of going back. Because most of the time when he's going back, he's on his heels. He's not really on his balls and his feet and everything. And like I said, play deep and cut across and put everything in his back pocket.
Hendricks recovers nicely after the long home run from Salta-Lamakia. The Red Sox lead it 3-0.
Back at Fenway South as the Red Sox enjoy a 3-0 advantage as we get ready for the top of the 5th inning, and Boston will bring on their second pitcher of the night after 4 innings tonight from Felix Dubron. For shutout innings for Dubron, it's Shinichi Tazawa into the game. Last year 37 appearances. The numbers that jump out at you, certainly the strikeout to walk ratio, 45 strikeouts to 5 walks last year for Tazawa. Really having a very good year for the Red Sox, and will likely be part of the bullpen this season for Boston. So far during the spring, 4 of 5 Grapefruit League relief appearances have been scoreless for Tazawa, as the Red Sox bullpen appears to be one of the strengths of the 2013 campaign heading in. As we thank Dick Bramer for the last couple innings. We'll be switching off here. I got 5-6. And then Dick will be back for 7-8, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to take it to the house for the 9th inning. Hall of Famer Jim Rice, Ron Coomer here as well, All-Star Ron Coomer. And tonight, the Red Sox and the Twins so far. And Felix Dubron looking good again tonight for the Red Sox, it appeared, Joe.
I think it was a so-so, because I think he really out there trying to work on certain things. It seemed like that's another Dubron we saw last year.
Right.
And so it's still early in spring training, so I think maybe the next out will probably be much better or a little more aggressive.
The one thing I saw is early in the ball game, the release point got a little erratic, and he was wild around the zone. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, I'm going to attack the inside part of the plate for both sides. He started going after both sides of the plate, inside to both hitters, and to me, that settled him in the ball game. And now he finishes the game throwing the ball very well.
He got a little more velocity in the ball.
Yeah.
Ends up with 4 strikeouts and 1 walk as he worked 4 innings, giving up 2 hits. And again, no runs in his outing. Red Sox enjoy a 3-0 advantage as Brian Dozier leads it off here for the Twins. That's Tazawa, part of a very good bullpen, it appears, this year for the Red Sox. This year, of course, Joel Hanrahan coming to the Red Sox. You got Andrew Bailey at the end of the game, and it seems like Bard's starting to find his way again, but it seems like that's going to be a strength for the club this year.
I think when you got that kind of, those kind of arms out there, it's going to make your bullpen a little bit better. And, of course, if you go out there and you score runs, it's even better because now your starters are giving you quality starts, and now your bullpen come out, and you got a couple of runs that you can go out and do certain things.
Well, what is the bullpen looking like for the Minnesota Twins this year?
Our bullpen is good. I think the one question mark right now is that middle guy and who's going to get us. You know, Burton last year came on and the Twins had signed him, and he had some injuries and had some surgery, so they were a little tentative with him at the start of the season. He pitched phenomenally well. Gardy protected him a little in April. By May, he was dominating and threw very well. Perkins ends the game for the Minnesota Twins, who took over the closer role, who did a very good job. So I think towards the end of the ball game, Brian Dunsing, also a guy who did very well. It's that middle role right now that the Twins are going to look at and try to figure out who that guy's going to be. Anthony Swarzak broke his ribs right before camp started. He's kind of the guy that you look to be that guy. Fenn is another guy who's thrown the ball well this spring, who has a chance to making the team. But I agree, your bullpen for the Boston Red Sox, you get it to the 6th inning, this team is going to be very good and very tough to beat.
And Tazawa here into the 5th inning, dealing with Brian Dozier, who leads it off. The 0-2 pitch is lined into right field, takes it the other way for a base hit. Brian Sweeney over to play it, but 2 for 2 is Brian Dozier. Had a double in the 2nd, now a single to begin things here in the 5th.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. We had Tom Bernansky on earlier talking about Dozier and talking about getting his hips through and using the whole field. Last year, he would have tried to hook that ball and might have hit that ground ball to short, where this time he gets that ball down and away and shoots that ball the other way. To me, you know, when you look at Brian Dozier, he gets a good load, and instead of trying to do too much, that ball's away, and he just serves it into right field. And for a middle infielder, for him to be able to spray the ball around, that's going to be important.
It's a leadoff base hit now. Snap throw to first. Was trying to catch him napping with Saltalamacchia. Back to the bag safely is Dozier.
You know, with hitting, you got to play a role. It's sort of like when you say that you're in the hitter's count. If you're in the hitter's count and you're a home run hitter, you take that one big swing and then you go back to your base hit swings. You take what the pitcher gives you. And your home runs and your base hit, not necessarily come on bad pitching, they just come on bad location. Because how many times have you heard a pitcher say, I threw the ball exactly where I wanted to hit it? Never. I didn't get it in for enough. I didn't get it away for enough. And that's it. That's where you get your hits, by mistakes.
We saw Saltalamacchia with a 2-run home run and had 25 home runs last year for the Red Sox. Certainly would like to cut down on his strikeouts this year, but still he's got some pop.
Both sides. I mean,
yeah.
Salty, I mean, I don't know how it's going to work, but when you have you got this guy as a switch hitter, a young guy, I mean, strong. I want to catch every day. I'm putting myself in a Carlton Fisk mode. If we play 162, I want to catch 158. That's the way I am. You know, you waste more time sitting on the bench doing nothing. You should go out and play.
Now, you talk about a guy, Carlton Fisk. He caught more games than any catcher that's ever played the game. That's the guy that taught me how to hit. Now, you talk about the Reniak idea, the Pesky idea. I learned from Carlton Fisk when he got traded to the Minnesota Twins, or to the Chicago White Sox. I was a kid on the south side of Chicago, just getting into pro baseball, and Pudge was the guy that really taught me how to hit. And we had a bunch of different theories, but he was the guy that had the ideas. And you talk about learning from a Hall of Famer. I got a chance to learn from a Hall of Famer and ended up in the big leagues.
Well, I tell you another Hall of Famer, but he's not baseball. I was in Sarasota, Florida, and all of a sudden I go to Payne Park, and there's some guy that wore 23 played for the Chicago Bulls.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah. And so I go into the clubhouse, and he said, Jim. I said, what, Michael? He said, I can't hit like that. That's all he said. He said, I can't hit like that. And I said, well, Michael, you got to do it on your own, or you got to go back to basketball. But he said he couldn't hit like that. He couldn't have the one-handed swing and things like that. It works for some guys, but it doesn't work for everyone. And that's one thing about Ted Williams. Ted Williams said, get your own style.
Well, how hard was it for you to teach? Because you knew how you did it as a Hall of Famer, but then you became a hitting coach. How hard was it to kind of verbalize what you did naturally?
You got to know every individual. You got to know who to pat on the back and who to kick in the butt. And some guys were like that. And you got to let them have they say so. And the only way you can help them out, you got to go and show video. You show them video and say, look what you did when you know, my theory or the way that I'm trying to tell you to hit the ball or get the ball. See, you got on top of the ball. And they say to themselves, well, I didn't get on top of the ball, but the film didn't lie.
Right.
And that was the whole thing. So once you show them on film, you have a better idea. You can sort of get that respect.
How much do you think film would have helped your career if you had that chance to go back and watch as much as guys do now? I mean, guys DHs now, they'll have one at bat against the guy. They go back upstairs and watch the guy coming in they've faced, I don't know, 20, 30 times.
It's too much. What I think for me, I may be wrong, when you're talking about a pitcher, they're only going to throw 2 pitches. Fastball, breaking ball. Anything off speed is a breaking ball. So you can only look for 2 pitches, or you look for location, and you go from there. You can't sit there and say, like, Dice K got 6 pitches, a gyro ball, and everything. Well, evidently he didn't find it.
Yeah, I never did.
Yeah. So you can't be up there looking at all those pitches. You look for 2 pitches in location. Now, just like Jim Palmer, I know Jim Palmer is going to pitch me high. So if I got a good swing that day, I know that I can get on top of that ball. If not, I make him bring it down. And you go from there.
This is out to left center, and thinking too is Mastriani. The throw is not going to be in time as he goes in head first with a 2-out double here in the 5th inning.
Good hustle by Mastriani right out of the box. This ball is down in the zone, and he just hooks it over to shortstop's head. You see good swing, head snaps down at contact, and as soon as this ball is in the gap, the speedy Mastriani, there's no chance of throwing him out at second base. I really like the way young hitters, and if you can teach a hitter to snap his head and attract that ball to the bat, that's the one thing I liked about that swing. When the ball is down in the zone, he really tracked that ball well down and was able then, because of that, the barrel ended up tracking to the ball, and he ends up driving that ball into left center instead of hitting that routine ground ball to third or short.
Now, you as a pitcher, you got to know which one are high ball umpires and low ball umpires. If you notice the Minnesota Twins and what wearing the guys out, what down low. A guy can throw the ball harder down than he can up. So I think what you got to do now is try to work up a little bit, because they're waiting on that pitch, something they can hit down.
2 down in the inning. Mastriani is at second base. Aaron Hicks is the batter. He's been aboard twice, a walk and a single, as he's swinging a foul tip here for Hicks. Ron, of course, you were part of the 1999 All-Star game at Fenway Park. That had to be an absolute thrill to be a part of.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, the All-Century team there, just all the festivities of the All-Star game. Carlton Fisk was our team captain that year, and Pudge being a friend, that was special. I got to bring my dad to the game, and, you know, you think about some of the things that happened and the people and the friendships you got to meet. I meet Stan Musial. You know, you just got to meet some of the greats in the game. And You know, and then you play it in Fenway Park, one of the great venues for any sport that there is. And, you know, it's decorated in the Coomer House, I'll tell you that. And I still have the baseball to end the game that day.
All right.
So yeah, it was a special moment for my baseball career.
We talked about it last time out, but that was a pretty incredible night for Pedro Martinez, who really was on display that night against the National Leaguers.
Oh, it was fun in the dugout because Pedro was all fired up, and as you guys know, when he got pumped up to pitch, you know, he could cut her loose a little bit, and he went through McGuire and Sosa, and there was no breaking pitches coming that day. It was go ahead and try to hit it, and he was 98, 99 miles an hour, and if you could hit it, good for you, and nobody hit it, and he just blew everybody away.
Well, it was so great to have Pedro Martinez back in the organization again, and of course came back last year for the 100th anniversary as part of that. And Jim, you got to be happy, as a lot of the Red Sox people are, to have a guy like Pedro Martinez back in the organization again.
Not only that, and of course, I was telling Ron, the best curveball I ever went up to face was Bert. And to me, when you got Bert and when you have someone like Pedro, like I said, you don't want to go over anyone's heads, but these are the guys that I go to say, man, what can I do to better myself? You got to pick guys' brains. That's one thing about when we play the game. We talk. We pick each other's brains. Guys nowadays, they're not doing that.
Now it's strike 3 to Hicks to end the inning. Tazawa through the top of the 5th. 4.5 done, 3-0 Boston. Last half of the 5th inning back at JetBlue Park at Fenway South. Red Sox have a 3-0 advantage as we play along to the bottom of the 5th. New pitcher on for the Twins after 4 innings from Liam Hendricks. It is Pedro Hernandez. Last year got into 19 games, was 8-4, the 3.32 earned run average, and over 100 innings and 103 innings. Is a bit of a screwball, not a hard thrower, but we've seen him once or twice already this spring against the Red Sox.
Right, and you definitely will see a change of speed. It's going to be fastball, breaking ball, and the breaking ball, as Jim was talking about, can go either way with Hernandez. So to me, it's all about starting out throwing strikes when a guy doesn't throw as hard, and then letting his stuff work for him later in the count. And that'll be the concern for the Minnesota Twins, is right, throwing strikes early in the count.
Liam Hendricks going the first 4 innings, giving up 3 runs. Big blast, the 2-run home run for Jared Saltalamacchia in the 4th inning. This one is hit out to left field. Mastriani is out there for Minnesota, and he puts it away for the first out of the 5th inning. Your thoughts on Liam Hendricks tonight, Kim, in this 4-inning outing?
I thought Liam threw the ball pretty well. The one pitch that he made the major mistake to Saltalamacchia, he got the ball up a little bit in the middle of the plate, and Saltalamacchia hit the home run. The thing that he did right after that is he came right after the hitters and got some guys out. He's a young guy trying to find a spot in the rotation. And to me, he threw the ball pretty well. This is, a pretty good lineup he's facing. He threw a lot of strikes tonight. And overall, I think for Liam, if he throws the ball over the plate and is aggressive, that's the important part. And tonight he did that.
Here's a guy that we will hear from in the future. First-round pick for the Red Sox, 2012, Devin Marrero. And our first look at him here on a televised game so far this spring. And a late addition to tonight's lineup for the Red Sox as he gets the start after playing day baseball today in Sarasota for the Red Sox. Back spasm for Pedro Siriaco. Kept him out of the lineup tonight, but Marrero down in the count, 1-2. Last year, his first year of pro baseball at Single-A Lowell, New York Penn League. He hit .268 a year ago. 2 home runs, 24 RBIs in 64 games. Grounds this one back up the middle. Diving at second is Dozier. From one knee, his throw is off the mark and off the front of the Twins dugout. Marrero will reach, but good bid by Dozier, but the throw off the mark.
Great range shown by Dozier on this ball going up the middle, making the throw and pulling the first baseman off the bag. But that's the first big league hit. I don't care where you talk about it. That's his first big league hit. I'd be getting that baseball spring training game or not. What the heck?
Let's send it down to Jenny Dell.
All right, so we have a rare opportunity here. We have Hall of Famer Jim Rice and All-Star Ron Coomer in our booth. So fans at home, we want you to ask some questions to our guys using the hashtag #AskThePros. If you have a question for one of the guys in the booth, please tweet us using the hashtag #AskThePros.
Well, we hope you will contribute tonight. Might as well pick the brains of the guys we have here tonight, and it's great to have with us Jim Rice and Ron Coomer tonight as we come to you from JetBlue Park at Fenway South. Red Sox enjoy a 3-0 advantage as Jacoby Ellsbury bats with 1 out and a runner at first base. Jim, normally at this point again, let's see, you're coming up on 8:45. You guys have already eaten right in the green room back at Nesson at this point, and you are watching the game right at this point? Or?
Of course we are. Watching you and Jerry have a nice time.
Yeah, would your normal routine right about now would be at 8:45.
You know what my partner say? My partner say, this game going to be over anytime in the next hour and a half?
Well, Ellsbury sends one out to left field, but caught by Mastriani. As Jim, part of our analyst during the season again. Pre and post coming up here for 2013. I know you enjoy it down there at TC. You guys have a good time every night.
Oh, we got to.
That's right. You know, you're not allowed to order fish. You know the rules, right? TC allows no fish in the green room. I found out the wrong way. I ordered fish one night during the playoffs, which is a big mistake. You can't have fish. But if you're maybe you can. You're Hall of Fame.
There's a whole different set of rules when you go HOF after your name.
You can order No, you still can't order fish.
That's TC's house.
Oh, okay. Wow. Hall of Fame or not, that's TC's house.
That's right.
Wow.
I'm just happy to be a piece of the furniture there.
2 down in the inning as the pitch will miss here to Johnny Gomes, who gets his 3rd at bat of the night.
And Jimmy, with Gomes hitting, you've been able to see him all spring. He has the open stance. Looks like in batting practice to me, a few times I've seen him this year in BP. He does like to hook the ball. What do you think of his setup and his style?
I don't mind his setup, but watch the angle. Watch the angle of the bat. The angle of the one, sort of chicken wing here. And it seemed like he goes
the front elbow flies upward. Yep. So to me, in batting practice, it looks like he's going to enjoy hitting from that 379 sign in center field around to the wall, and he hooks a lot of baseballs. But if he does that with that front elbow coming up, that means the barrel's going to drop, and that's going to be an issue.
That's right.
And you can't have that if you're going to catch up to any kind of fastballs.
See the angle? The angle's like a chicken wing. Now, to me, I will be more apt at that Dunkin' Donut sign out there.
Now, what we're going to see right here, watch the front elbow. Front elbow comes up. The barrel kind of goes away from the contact zone, and he pulls off that pitch that's probably just outer third of the plate.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about.
Yes. You know, with Gomes, Gomes has got to tendency hitting the ball everything to the right side and react to the ball inside. See here, he's not hitting the ball on the sweet part of the bat. It's more of a slice than anything else.
Arcia makes the catch in right as Gomes flies out to right. We're 3-5, 3-0 Boston.
Welcome back to JetBlue Park. Red Sox up by 3, and we are asking fans Twitter questions. We have some pros up in our booth, and let's see, Kyle Schmidt here wants to know, Jim, who is the best pitcher you have ever faced?
Well, I can't say who's the best pitcher that I ever faced. I can tell you one guy that intimidated me, but also you got to look at a guy like Palmer. You have to look at a guy like Guidry. You got to look at a guy like Blyleven. So I had a lot of guys. You know, you got to talk about two guys, at least in the Hall of Fame, you had two guys that were consistent as far as going out and winning ball games. But there was one guy that intimidated me, and he was a left-hander. I felt like no left-hander could get me out, and that was Vida Blue. I came up to, you know, in 75, and Vida just said, hey, this young kid, I'm going to blow it by you, and that's what he did. So, Coomer, who's the one? Come on.
Vida Blue's got to be on a lot of guys' lists in the 70s. I think when you look at success or lack of, you know, I got to face Pedro in his most dominating years, and he was a guy that, you know, as a right-hander, you just didn't have much success off Pedro. You were hoping to scratch one hit out and go to the next guy, or as a team try to get him out of the game with the pitch count thing, and he wasn't coming out. So Pedro, you know, obviously another Red Sox. Roger Clemens was another guy that was really dominant in those years. So I think when you talk about two guys that were great, Pedro and Roger were really good.
Again, you can be part of the conversation tonight. Hashtag Ask the Pros. You have a question for Jim Rice or Ron Coomer tonight. And as we come to you from Fort Myers, I'm surprised you didn't say Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan? No, you had no problem.
Okay, well, I probably did, but I hit home runs off of Nolan breaking ball. Nolan always wanted to strike someone on the breaking ball to make him look bad. But it's one thing that I like what Ron said. He said, if I'm facing a guy like Pedro or Roger and they got their good day, hey, I hope I can get one. If not, if I don't get any, but those other three guys are going to pay.
Yeah,
so
we're
what I
going to
try
get
to
them.
do, yeah, I try to get my little 3 hits before I get into to those guys. If they have a good day, my hat's off to them, but I'm going to get those other guys.
Somebody's going to pay.
That's right.
None of us had our stats on guys like Clemens and Pedro. We did it on the other guys in the rotation, that's for sure.
It was so bad, I didn't even take batting practice off Roger, and of course Bob Stanley was hit the other day. I didn't take batting practice off those two guys. That was it. Because we only got, believe it or not, we only got a dozen of bats, and I was not going to let those two guys break my bats.
Jamie Carroll leading it off here in the 6th inning. Tazawa back out there for another inning. This one is into right field. Opposite field base hit for Jamie Carroll. That been 0 for 2, but has himself a single here to begin the top half of the 6th inning.
Yeah, the Twins have had a little success off Tazawa. You know, he's running that fastball in, and they've just been really kind of waiting back on his pitches. He's kind of a back and forth pitcher, decent fastball and a lot of off-speed pitches, and Twins hitters so far have just kind of waited back and served some balls out to right field. Dozier and Carroll both getting hits.
So the leadoff single for Carroll as Chris Parmalee stands in. He is 0 for 2. He struck out, fly to center. How'd you fare against Jim Palmer?
I hit Palmer pretty good.
Yeah.
I recall one day about Palmer, which he gave me a little respect. The bases were loaded. And, you know, he tell you never give him a grand slam.
He never give him a grand slam.
He walked me and got Tony Armours, I think, out on 2 pitches. So that was a little respect for me.
A little?
Yeah.
You walk a guy with the bases loaded, that's called a lot of respect.
But he was the type of guy, he could tell you every home run that he gave us.
He knows
And every
exactly
count.
what pitch.
Just ask him.
No,
he
absolutely.
will tell
No.
you, there ain't no doubt.
You see him a lot, 19 times a year. With the
Yeah,
O's.
that's right.
He's one of my buddies.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
a good
absolutely.
guy.
Yeah. Interesting guy with your pitcher Tazawa. We're watching him here now in the stretch. This is one of the guys. To me, this is what makes it difficult for certain hitters. You just saw the fast windup, the slide step, but the fast motion, and then the off-speed pitch. And right there, he got Parmalee to get out in front and cue that ball off the end of the bat. And to me, he does a couple different things that are strange. He has that pause when he's in the windup that really gets hitters out of their routine and out of their rhythm. And now you're going to see him kind of jump at the hitter. Doman takes pretty good swing at that pitch right there. That's kind of up in the zone. But this is a guy that deception really works in his favor. You know.
The deception, too, but what I like, and I was watching the poster.
For watching the windup?
As far as Pedro and Luis Tiant out on the backfield, if you notice when he's going to the plate, the glove comes out first. That's one deception there. And then he comes with the arm speed, the same arm speed as a fastball, then he takes a little off. So anytime you as a hitter, you can deke that hitter by throwing that glove out there. We don't know where the ball's coming.
Now I got to know Louis when he works from the minor leagues with the Dodgers. Louis would never do anything like that, would he?
Oh, yeah. Well, Pedro did. Pedro's like that, too.
Yeah.
He did the same thing.
Yeah. No wonder I couldn't have hit Tiant, and I know I didn't hit Pedro. So.
But you got the other guys.
Yeah, I got all the other guys, though. We got them covered.
Oswaldo Arcia batting with 2 outs in the inning and a runner at second base.
And this can be important for Arcia to make sure he tries to stay to the middle of the field and doesn't get pull happy with some of these off-speed pitches. See right there, good breaking pitch. And you have to, when you don't know a pitcher and you can tell he's going back and forth. Twins hitters have done some good so far with just trying to stay to the opposite field or to the middle of the field. Let's see what he does, because you know you're going to get at least one more off-speed pitch in this at bat.
Doesn't he? Fouls it off at the dish. 1-2.
You know, something for young hitters or even the older hitters. The first thing they tell you is to choke up with 2 strikes. I told Johnny Pescott I'm not choking up with 2 strikes. I'm choking up with no strikes. And another thing is to go the opposite way. Why? Because the ball stays on the bat a little longer. So why not start that way and just react to the ball? Set yourself up to hit the ball to the right side, but let your instincts take over as far as pulling the ball.
The Twins with a runner in scoring position here, and Carroll at second base with 2 down in the inning. Tazawa looks out in his direction, and this is in the air to left field. Gomes will move over, and he puts it away to end the inning. The Twins leave Carroll at second base. Red Sox have a 3-0 lead after 5.5. 3-0 Red Sox have the lead as we get ready for the bottom of the 6th inning. And Ron Coomer, you get one of the Twins waiting by.
Yeah, we got today third baseman Jamie Carroll. Jamie, you've been bouncing around positions a little bit this spring training. How are things going so far?
Not too bad. It was actually good to get some action over at third. I played it a few times this spring and hadn't had too many ground balls, so it was good to get some live looks tonight.
He's talking about live looks, but the ball that's hit down the line, sometimes at third base, unlike playing in the middle, your reaction of going back and forth is so important at third as opposed to side when you play the middle. Great play on the ball down the line on moving the right way with the first step.
And then you're talking about the 95 hopper I threw to first after that? No.
You're talking to a third baseman. I did the same thing. I'm never going to knock a guy doing that.
I know. I think I almost hit Ellsbury and the pitcher and then whoever was in between. But, yeah, I mean, that's what third base is. It's a lot of reaction. You got a little bit more time in the middle infield to cover some ground, but third base, it's not called the hot corner for a reason. So.
Now, going into this season, you knew you were going to bounce around a little bit. Have you talked to any of the young middle infielders? Because all these guys look up to you in the way you go about your work, and the whole organization does. But in talking to our young middle infielders about the way they go about their work?
Yeah, we get out there and we're doing our work for the day, and these guys out here actually have a lot of questions. It's kind of fun. And, you have guys that are coming up that are asking questions, or, Doge moving over to second base, and, we're breaking down how to best be efficient, turning a double play.
Well, Dustin Pedroia works a base hit off the glove. Colabello just into the game at first base on a diving bin. Pedroia is aboard. Well, the pinch runner coming in here for Pedroia.
Talking to Dozier for you, Jamie. We got Jamie Carroll, Minnesota Twins infielder, talking to Dozier about the double play. What's been some of the, because you've played both positions, both middle infield positions a lot. What's some of the things you've worked on with Dozier?
Just more so where to, want to consistently get a feed. Obviously, when you're getting the throws from the other side, you try to read where they are, but to try to be as consistent as you can, and hopefully, letting the other guys know where you like it the best, and just trying to be as consistent, making sure of one, and then getting a strong throw off. And we have kind of different philosophies. He's a little bit more, I think, athletic than I am, and he likes to move a little bit more. I like to be a little bit more stationary, use the bag for protection, and it's kind of fun to talk about both different aspects of it, and I think you take what you want as a player, from that and add it to your game.
Well, you had a great year for the Minnesota Twins last year. What position, if you were to say your best position for the Minnesota Twins would be this year going in? Are you going to probably play a little more second? Do you know, has Gardy talked to you about positioning?
That's a great question, and one that I'm not too concerned about. I'm just coming out and trying to prepare and play the best I can while I'm out there, and prepare the best when I have time at all the other positions, and let them decide. I trust who they are and what they think is best for our team, and hopefully I play well enough that we make that decision. All of us make that decision tough on them and what we go forward opening day.
Jamie, I'm curious, this is Don Orsillo. I just had a question for you. I know this is a ways back, but 2007, an incredible run. You were on the Colorado Rockies team that obviously faced the Boston Red Sox, who did win the championship, but what an amazing run for you guys that year. I think it was 21 out of 23, even to get into that situation at the end of the year. It had to be pretty special.
Yeah, you said it. It was a very special situation, and one that, was thankful to be a part of. Obviously, when you win a lot of games like that, a lot of things are going in your favor, and we ran into a hot Red Sox team that got hot during that Cleveland series that just started to roll at the end of that series, and we knew we were in trouble because we had some time off, and it was obviously a great team, but it was fun to get that opportunity as my first playoffs ever, and to get in that way, and to play and get to the World Series when it was completely unexpected is definitely something you remember forever.
Well, Jamie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate a nice ball game tonight. And get out here and go get some rest tonight.
I appreciate it. I got Gardy getting ready to yell at me here about something, so I better get off here.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, guys.
Well, class act Jamie Carroll is great now with his second season coming up with the Twins, but as you mentioned, it's great to have a veteran like him around.
Well, we've talked about who's going to play the middle infield, and we got two young guys trying to figure it out. The one thing that Ron Gardenhire knows, I can put him at short, or I can put him at second, and you got a very quality individual playing the position, quality guy in the clubhouse. And he hit what he hit. He's going to hit between 270 and 290, and he's done it year after year. Just a great presence for the Minnesota Twins in the clubhouse.
Veteran player, been there. But what I saw when the Colorado Rockies came in, the Colorado Rockies was dead fastball. They could not hit any breaking balls, and that's why the Red Sox were successful. They did not hit any breaking balls at all.
And we saw Hiker Meneses running at first base, took over for Pedroia. As Napoli, a big swing, sends it down to third base. Almeida will go to second for one, on to first, and the Twins turn it. Around the horn, 5-4-3 they go to retire Napoli and Meneses for the 2 outs here in the 6th inning. 2 down.
Very good double play right there, turned at second base for the Minnesota Twins. Good feed, but here's the thing that we're talking about is Dozier coming to the ball and going and getting it and being able to be out of the way of the runner. Those are plays, Jimmy, that for a young player like Dozier, who's been a shortstop his whole career, moving to second base, that's a great pivot and understanding the situation, going and getting the ball and being protected because he's out of the way of the slide.
But the thing, you got to play the ball. You can't let the ball play you. When you let the ball play you, next thing you know, it's a mistake or an error.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You see him getting way out of the baseline to take this throw, and then he's got the strong arm, so then he gets to set his feet and make the throw. That's going to be very important for the Twins to know that you're going to be able to get the double play when you should get it.
Well, once that third baseman get the ball, any infielder get the ball, you turn double play. Get that ball and get it to the next guy so it can get out of the way. You don't want anyone to get hurt. Our job is to go in and slide hard and not necessarily hurt anyone, but try to take them out.
Saltalamacchio with a base hit through the left side, his second hit of the night. Takes the wide turn, but retreats. He is 2 for 3 in the game, and understand Chris Parmalee's down on the dugout run.
Hello, Chris. You got us.
How we doing, guys?
We're doing great. We're doing very good. So far, spring for you has gone very well tonight. A little different spot, playing first base opposed to the outfield.
Yeah. You know, I've been working in the outfield quite a bit lately, but an occasional first base is what I'm understood I'll be doing here.
Tonight, playing first base, you haven't played there much in spring, but obviously that's your position. What did Gardy talk to you about coming into spring, knowing you're going to probably play 80% of your games in right field?
Yeah, you know, he told me to get as much right field work in as I can. When I don't go on the road, to work in at first base, and when I have some spare time.
Well, the big question, how do you like moving to the outfield?
It's an adjustment. You know, I like it. It's one of those things where it's going to take some, you know, a couple more games to get comfortable out there. But, you know, I'm enjoying it, and anywhere I can be in the lineup to help the team is always good.
Can you hang with us here through the break?
Sure, why not?
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Red Sox have a 3-0 lead as we head to the 7th.
3-0 Boston, top of the 7th inning. Dick Bramer, Jim Rice, Ron Coomer as Red Sox make a bunch of changes getting ready for the 7th. We've asked Chris Parmalee if he'd be nice enough to carry over to the top of the 7th inning. And Chris, you were talking about splitting time, first base, right field, and all that. But how has this camp been different for you? Last year, up and down several times, but now, provided all goes well, you're going to be the starting right fielder for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to work out, but there's still a lot of work to be done. I definitely don't want to take it for granted, and I know there's still a lot of work to be done in the outfield and at home plate with the bat. So I'm trying to get as much work in as I can in the outfield and hitting the ball.
Well, you had a little injury earlier in camp, and now it seems like you look like you're healthy swinging. How you feeling, and how's the swing going?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Like you said, I had that little injury that kept me out for 7-8 days, but every at bat is getting a lot easier to see the ball getting the timing back down, so it's good.
Chris, thanks for the time and the overtime.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, Joe Benson leading off for the Twins in the 7th inning. Chris Carpenter, the new Boston pitcher. It'll be Benson, Dozier, and Escobar due to face the Red Sox here in the top of the 7th inning. Benson 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground ball, and now Jenny Dell as a special guest. Jenny?
Jared, 2-run home run tonight. Jim Rice is up in the booth, and he said his style is to keep it simple. What's your approach at the plate?
Kind of the same thing. Being a catcher, there's so much going on in the game that you can't, especially switch hitter, you got to keep it simple. Both sides of the plate, can't try and think too much, and that's kind of what I told myself before the home run was stop trying to do too much, just put good wood on it, and it worked out.
Felix Dubron, a solid outing tonight, 4 scoreless innings. What'd you see from him?
Felix worked great. He was moving the ball both sides of the plate. Pace picked up. He was going from the get-go. Really mixed his pitches up. His curveball wasn't his best tonight, but that just shows you how, good and talented he is to not have his best stuff and still go out there and, pitch great.
Starting rotation was always questioned last season. How strong do you feel it is for 2013?
I think it's big. I think our bullpen has always been strong, and I think our starting rotation is starting to get stronger. What Juan's done and, Farrell coming in, those guys, they know these guys, so it's kind of a comfort feeling for these pitchers. I think that they can, kind of go to somebody. If something's not going right, they can go to them, and, they know them best. So.
Thank you, Jared. Back to you.
All right, well, Jared Saltalamacchia caught Felix Dubron through 4 effective innings. And Dubron hoping to solidify one of the spots in a hopefully solidified Boston rotation.
No, we sure hope so, but like Jared was saying, I think the pace more than anything else. And of course, what he said, he didn't have his good stuff, but he still stayed out there. And, it seems like that the more anyone goes out there, the more they're going to learn, they're going to pick up the pace a little bit.
Well, he was able to throw some fastballs for strikes. You see that fastball up and in to Benson. And then as the game moved on, his breaking ball started to get a little bit better. But I think it was set up, Jimmy, by the fastball inside. And his pace of the game, I think that's so important for young pitchers to get the pace of the game going. And Saltalamacchia, as a catcher, can help him do that.
And then, of course, like you said, got Farrell back. Farrell knows these guys. And, of course, Juan been working with him. So I think with all this going on, by picking up the pace and having confidence in Salty and let him call his game, more confidence, more outings, better pitcher.
First pitch fastball for a strike to Eduardo Escobar, who's gone down swinging and bounced into a double play. Carpenter's numbers last season. Probably asked to pitch just the 7th inning here today. Pitch down and in and to the backstop. Very happy to be working with Hall of Famer Jim Rice and Ron Coomer. Jenny Dell working the dugouts, and Dick Bramer up here in the booth right now. Don Orsillo has been working off and on. He'll be working on again.
Seems a little upset right now, I'll tell you, back there. Kind
of left off the graphic. How quickly they forget, Don. 1-1
Fox
to Eduardo Escobar. Escobar and the most recent Twins pitcher, Pedro Hernandez, from the White Sox in the Francisco Liriano trade. We saw Liriano in the Pirates camp a few days ago trying to recover from a broken right arm, not his throwing arm, but his right arm. And the Twins dealing Liriano during last season and getting a utility player, at least that's what his job would be with the Twins right now, and a left-handed pitcher who Twins hope someday will contribute at the big league level. 1-2 to Escobar. From the stretch, even with nobody on base, and Carpenter delivers down and in, 2-2.
Carpenter part of this very good Boston Red Sox bullpen, and you can see Carpenter throwing the ball in the low to even mid-90s at times. And the thing I like when a guy comes in and he's aggressive, especially a guy with an arm like Carpenter, he likes to pitch inside and pitch inside a lot. And you got a guy that can't hurt you hitting the ball out of the ballpark. See if he stays inside. Ooh, a little change up.
Slap to third. Gathered in by Dent, the new third baseman. Close play. Escobar retired. And it's a 1-2-3-7 for Chris Carpenter. 3-0 Boston after 6.5.
To me, we have guys.
Lexus Command.
Nothing Red Sox, bottom of the 7th inning. And Jenny Dell's got Will Middlebrooks.
Well, impressive spring for you. Is it different coming into spring training knowing that you already have a job on the team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, comfort level's a lot better, and you come in here and you're not wondering, hey, when am I going to go back down to minor league camp? And you know, you got a job, and so you can just work and get better every day.
Something you said, the comfort level is different. Seeing you in the clubhouse, you seem much more comfortable around the guys. Do you think the chemistry is just different this year?
Oh, it's completely different. It's a whole new group of guys. We have a lot of fun. We get a lot of work done, and we're all here for one purpose. That's to win a World Series.
Seems a lot of that's coming from manager John Farrell. Do you feel his influence is helping out with that?
Absolutely. I mean, he's just a very confident guy, and he comes in every day ready to work, and he just wants us to get better so we can get to where we want to be.
Speaking of getting better, it seems the wrist is all better. No complications with that?
Nothing at all. I feel great.
Thank you very much, Will.
Thanks.
Back to you.
And Mike Karp will lead things off against Hernandez, who delivers an off-speed pitch up high, ball 1. It's going to be strange for everybody to see Kevin Youkilis in a Yankee uniform.
Yes, but, you know, the way the situation was that they knew what they had in the minor league as far as Middlebrooks.
Right.
And, of course, Kevin got off to a bad start, and all of a sudden you have this young man for maybe a month or 2 months and hit more home run than Kevin did when Kevin was here for maybe 5 months. And so things in the clubhouse didn't go very well with Kevin and Bobby, and so they got rid of Kevin.
Fly ball to left. Mastroianni has no play.
Plus, I think he was coming up for a big contract.
Now, I think I realize as Mastroianni will chase this foul fly, strike 1. I think I know how revered Kevin Youkilis is among Red Sox fans. And I know when he returned to Fenway Park as a member of the White Sox, he was given a nice ovation. It might be the first time when he shows up at Fenway Park in a Yankee uniform that a Yankee has been cheered at Fenway Park. You think?
In a way, I think it'd be yes, and some it's going to be no, because you know how our Red Sox fans are. Sometimes we get very fickle. But with Kevin, it's not like the Red Sox traded him.
Right.
So that's a positive right there. You know, he went to Chicago, then all of a sudden free whatever, and he went to the Yankees. So he was looking for a job. He was out there, and so the Yankees chose him because of the injury with A-Rod over there.
Ground ball to first. Colabello makes the play. Ryan Sweeney will hit next for the Red Sox.
Now, Jimmy, there was one other guy in a Yankee uniform that was cheered after the 04 series, and that was Mariano Rivera. When he went back there, I don't know if it's quite the same cheering is going to go on for both guys, but, you know, the one thing when the Red Sox did win and things worked out pretty good, some of the Yankee guys, it wasn't as harsh for the Yankee guys any longer once the Red Sox had won.
Well, one better than that, Wade Boggs still having a hard time.
Yeah.
You know, riding on the horse and everything. Now, how about when you went over to the Yankees? I mean, how was things with you over there?
As a Minnesota Twin, you were always treated very fairly and nice by the Red Sox fans, and wasn't quite the same, brother, when I put on a Yankee uniform. Not at all.
Up and away 1-2 to Ryan Sweeney.
Expected, though.
Okay.
I liked it. It was okay. I had no problem with it.
Well, the thing about when you plan sort of like for the Red Sox or the Yankees, it's like in a playoff game every day, 162. You know, and then when you look at maybe the Yankees playing the Red Sox, it's like the playoffs.
Now, what was it like going into Yankee Stadium as the revered hitter for the Boston Red Sox?
I loved it. I loved it. It didn't bother me at all because we had more.
Kind of fueled you, didn't it?
We had a lot of Red Sox fans that were there, and the fans sort of like, I guess they just liked me because I didn't start into trouble. But Bill Lee and the rest of the guys, they didn't like them. But you know, it was sort of like Showtime. It was like game of the week every day that you went there. And we always played in front of a packed house.
There's a fastball just off the outside corner. Full count now to Sweeney. Jim, I want to ask you about Ryan Sweeney. Big guy, he looks strong, and the power has never come. Why?
I have no idea. But I think this guy is in his, what you call, in his bubble, that he doesn't really go out of his swing. He's more of a line drive hitter. He's going to take what you give him. He's not going to really go out and overswing. I guess, to me, he doesn't really get on top of the ball. He doesn't really go through the ball because as far as height and strength, everything is there. The other part's generating clubhead speed, though. You know, you like at Dustin. Dustin's not a big guy, but he can hit home runs. That's because he generates clubhead speed.
Full count to Sweeney with one down. Another one lifted foul and out of play. And let's send it back down to Jenny Dell. Jenny?
See, we're using the hashtag AskThePros, a question on Twitter for Ron and Jim. How, if at all, has spring training changed since you guys were players?
Well, I think, Jimmy, you touched on it. There's just a lot more guys in camp nowadays than there were 20 years ago or so and earlier. I think camp it's a lot more specialized now with all the things going on. Great catch by Hicks. He got a good jump on a ball hit to straightaway center field off Sweeney's bat. And that's what we're talking about, is for a young player to play in a ballpark like Fenway. Now, that time he got a very good jump, Jimmy, on that ball, and he made that catch very easily, and that's just flat-out speed, but he got a very good jump on the line drive off Sweeney's bat.
Jenny, with spring training, we were, I think it was like, you can only protect 40 guys, and you had a 45-man roster you brought down to spring training. And during that time, you knew just about the guys you were going to break with. You had a 25-guys roster, I mean, a team that you were going to break with. And maybe you had a couple guys on the borderline you were going to trade. You had two guys coming in because it happened that way in 1975 when Freddie and I came.
Right.
And so you probably had on maybe like two spaces or two spots that you can really go and get. But we played a lot of games. We played from day one. We went out and played at least 5 innings, and we had to take at least 6 guys on the road. 6 guys,
six front line players.
Like 6 your front line players.
Right.
And that's what we had to do. And of course, I was very fortunate to be one of those 6 every time we teed it up. I just wanted to go play because, you know, sometimes you say, well, we're playing in the National League. It didn't matter to me because I may see that National League pitcher because you could trade them.
Right.
So I want to go there and at least see who you're facing that day and maybe see a pitcher.
1-2 to Marrero. Facing Hernandez, is trying to wrap up his 3rd scoreless inning of work. Sharply hit on a couple of hops, bobbled by Dozier. He recovers, flings to Colabello, and it's a 1-2-3. Bottom of the 7th inning, and a 3-0 Boston lead. Red Sox getting a 2-run home run from Jared Saltalamacchia in the 4th inning. The other Boston run scoring on a ground ball double play. Dick Bramer, Jim Rice, Ron Coomer, Don Orsillo, Jenny Dell bringing you Red Sox Twins baseball. And let's go back to Jenny Dell.
Questions coming in on Twitter for our pros up in the booth. Red Sox guy wants to know, what was your favorite memory of your career?
Probably my favorite memory of my career was watching Yastrzemski go around the ballpark his last at bat, and you know, with Yaz and coming up, and I watched him how he prepared himself to play every day, and he was at one part of the clubhouse, out the other part, and days I would just walk in and just watch him and see how he prepared himself. I knew when he went out on the field, it was time for me to go out on the field. And so I'll probably say that was probably one of my best moments in my career, just learning from a veteran player that really knew how to play the game. He played the game one way, played it hard.
There's a Carl Yastrzemski story I don't believe I've ever shared on television, but he announced that it was going to be his last year, 1983, and so the folks in Minnesota paid him a nice tribute in his last go-around in Minnesota. This was at the Metrodome, and he was not playing very much at that time, and he was not going to be playing on a Sunday afternoon, and he was there at 9:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning at the Metrodome. He wasn't happy with his swing. He knew he wasn't going to play, but here was this veteran who this was going to be his last year, but he was still working very, very hard on his swing on a Sunday of all days, when he knew he wasn't going to play.
That's just called professionalism, why he played so long. Commitment to himself and not wanting, when he did go, and maybe that's the last time someone was going to see him play, just the pride factor of how he went about his business. We were very fortunate to see Harmon Killebrew and be friends with Harmon. Dick, you got to see him play a lot. Those people that were that good at their profession, they had a lot of pride, and that's what you're talking about, you know, about that with a guy like Yastrzemski.
Aaron Hicks at the plate. Mastroianni with a bunt single. And a fastball on the outside corner. Hicks has had a good day at the plate. Coaxed a walk in the first inning. Cracked a double in the second. Made a couple of nice plays out in center field. And Hicks has done nothing to discourage the notion that he has gone out and won the center field job for the Minnesota Twins.
Well, I think the Twins organization was hoping that one of these guys would emerge and have a very good spring and do the job. And I think when you look at Hicks, he's one of those guys that has the ability, like Benson, like Mastroianni, but Hicks is a guy that has all 5 tools, and he's come into camp and really played well. He can throw it, he can go get him in the outfield. But I think also it seems like he's settled into playing at the big league level, and that to me is one thing that I know Ron Gardenhire has looked for.
With Hicks, I think you should put maybe like 2 names up on his locker. You should put Kirby Puckett and probably, let me see who else. Some little guy named Paul Molitor or something like that. Just to make the contact, hit the ball from gap to gap. It's going to be a double, it's going to be a triple. He's always in scoring position and make the routine play.
Well, as Boston's had a long run of really good left fielders, Williams, Yastrzemski, Rice, Greenwell, so on and so forth. The Twins have had a pretty good run out in center field, going back to Kirby Puckett, Torrey Hunter, Denard Span, guys like that. And Hicks hoping to carry the mantle forward for the next several years. Former #1 draft pick. Now, earlier I asked you, about the transition it might take Hicks to make the jump from AA, bypassing AAA, getting to the big leagues. How much beneficial, or how beneficial was your time at AAA? Do you think you could have made the jump from AA to the big leagues? There's a little number foul.
Well, like I said, it was some guy named after Carl Yastrzemski, so right. I knew I couldn't make this jump. But I was very fortunate to go to AAA, and I won the Triple Crown down there. And either I had to be in the big league or they were going to trade me. But it's like anything else, you got to wait your time. And when your time is there, they call you up, you got to be able to make adjustments. The whole thing about playing in the big leagues is being able to adjust. Being able to adjust and be able to listen to your veteran ball players.
2-2 to Hicks. Twins trying to solidify things up the middle this year with a new center fielder, a new shortstop, a new second baseman. And Hicks swings and misses. He's a strikeout victim for the second time. 1 for 3 with a walk. Let's go back to Jenny Dell.
All right, in the moment that you were just talking about with Yads, Rice actually played in that game. Jim, you got a standing ovation at your last at-bat in that game, almost a passing of the torch of sorts. What do you remember from that?
Well, I don't really remember that, but what I remember about Carl Yastrzemski is that during the time that he was going for his 3,000 hit, but believe it or not, even before that, this man had already had 15-16 years in the big leagues. He was swinging 36-36. He didn't start swinging 36-36 until I came up to the big league. I started swinging 36-36 in 1975, but in spring training I was 36-40 or 36-42. Cepeda was with us when I came up, and I asked Cepeda, why you get 36-40 or 36-42? He said, we never lift weights, so the only thing you're doing is generating club head speed, you generate forward speed. So I went 36-36, and Yaz swung 36-36 until he retired.
Mastroianni with an easy steal of second base. Now 36-36. You're talking length and ounces, right?
Yeah.
And I will say this, as Mastroianni we talked about earlier, stealing second base. Nobody, I'll go on record right now, nobody in the major leagues is swinging a 36-inch, 36-ounce bat in the big leagues currently. I promise you that.
I have a bat of Parker P72. I think he was like 37, 36,
yeah.
P72.
Yeah.
And then I have Bobby Bonds' bat, 37, 37.
You were talking about a 2x4 earlier. Is that what they just cut some of the tree down and go up there with it?
I know Don Baylor, I think, was the last guy who swung that heavy a bat in the big leagues. The Twins had a guy, Brian Buchanan, who was just a massive, muscular guy like Jim Rice, and you think, well, he could swing a heavy bat. And I asked him once, and he had 34-inch, 31-ounce. That's all he wanted to swing.
And I think what's happened is players now, they don't even test the waters to see what it's like to swing a big bat. It's been so not the norm for hitters. I signed in '87, and we didn't even have an option other than a 34.5. You had a 34-inch bat or a 34.5. That was the only options you had. And to me, it would be interesting to see if you put a big bat in a Justin Morneau's hand or a Doman or Willingham and see what happened.
Olmedo draws a walk, so now first and second, one out. Carpenter wobbling a little bit here in the 8th inning. And Chris Colabello will come to the plate, fresh off the Italian team in the World Baseball Classic. Let's go back to Jenny Dell.
Another question for you guys. If you could play with any player for just one game, dead or alive, who would you choose? Kummer, why don't you start this one off?
Well, that'd be easy for me. Maybe the most infamous Red Sox of all times. I think to watch Babe Ruth play would have been something to me that when a guy hit more home runs than most teams in the league, I'd like to have seen that. And he would probably be the guy for me that I would have liked to have played with, or at least seen play.
Yeah, but that's just home runs. I mean, you can hit a home run. The guy that I don't want to play. I just want to watch him play. I wish I could put 9 of them out there, and that's Bo Jackson.
Really?
That's Bo Jackson. Because you look at Bo, it's like he never played baseball, but look at the impact. The little time that he brought on baseball. Just imagine this guy played baseball in college.
Well, I played with Bo after his hip surgery in the minor leagues with the White Sox, and I watched him take his first round of batting practice in our group as he come down rehabbing. And I thought if I had to hit like that, I had no chance of getting to the big leagues because he was hitting balls 75 feet farther than the rest of us, and he didn't have a front hip. He'd had the hip replacement, and Buddy Bell, we had a bunch of big league guys that were down there watching him. And he was the most amazing athlete I think I've ever seen.
2 strikes to Chris Colabello. Chance to get the game tied up here if he can do what he did for Team Italy. Got a couple of big home runs. The Italian team kind of surprising the rest of the field in the World Baseball Classic. 2 strikes, and Colabello takes outside. Colabello and Drew Butera, who also had a big home run for Team Italy, have rejoined the Twins team. Team USA in its game with Puerto Rico running concurrent with our game here tonight, with the U.S. team needing to win to stay alive. Colabello trying to win a spot on the Twins roster as a backup first baseman. One gone here in the top of the 8th inning. Carpenter struggling to handle the Twins here in the 8th. Swing and a miss. Colabelo's out on strikes, 2 down. Jim, your thoughts about the World Baseball Classic, something obviously that wasn't around when you played in your Red Sox career. Would it have been something that you would have been interested in being a part of?
No. Because I love my country, but still I owe a lot to the Red Sox. So
Right.
if I go out there and I get hurt, you know, I'm hurting the Red Sox, I'm hurting my team, I'm hurting my family, and that's just the way I was brought up.
David Wright right now is out with a pull on his right side, I believe. He's going to miss some time. The Mets already have a whole host of injuries, and now Wright's not going to be able to compete at the next level if the U.S. team gets there.
Well, some guy played with the Yankees over at first base making a ton of money. He's hurt too.
Right.
Yeah, and I look at that, and it's just the wrong time to play this World Baseball Classic. And I really don't know in baseball, because of the amount of games we play, if there's a right time to play this. But you know, when you get guys in camp for a week and a half or 2 at the most, and then they run out there and now they're playing full tilt and trying to play for your country, where there's a pride factor, and you know, these games mean a lot. You've heard Wright and Joe Mauer in interviews talking about the importance, and these games aren't just exhibition games, these are real games. To me, this is just the wrong time for these guys to be playing at that level.
One more example. If you watch, I mean, Aceves could have gotten hurt. I mean, they was pulling him left and right. And so if anything like that happened, all of a sudden the Red Sox out of a player, they got to pay his contract, and you know, could hurt the bullpen. He may be a starter, I don't know, but could hurt him.
Now, Dick and Jimmy, do you guys think there's a better time of the year that we could hold this, you know, at the end of the World Series and you throw it out there after guys have played, or is there a better time to have this?
I would probably say maybe at the end of the World Series, and I think majority of the guys that are playing in the World Series, that have played in the World Series, not going to play anyway, because they let the other guys play. So who says that you got to play it? I mean, you can go there, but let the other guys play that didn't make the playoffs or anything like that. But still, you're coming back into the next season, you're still under contract, because no one gets 1 or 2 years anymore. Everybody get 5, 6 years.
Right. 3-0 to Ryan Doumit. Representing the tying run, and he takes ball 4. That'll fill the bases. So Mastroianni to third. Olmedo, who had walked, goes to second. And Doumit draws a walk. And Brian Dinkelman is the next batter. He is going to make his first plate appearance for Oswaldo Arcia.
And you look at Carpenter's pace of the game. He made a good pitch to get a strikeout, but every other pitch, the pace of the game is really slowed down, overthinking it. Sometimes if a pitcher can get on that mound and get that ball and start firing it, you might find a little rhythm again in throwing strikes. And to me, that's what Carpenter's lacking right now.
Well, if I'm going to throw balls and throw strikes, I'm going to be fast at it. Why not? Go ahead.
I think there was another broadcaster talking about that being important for him. There's a guy back here laughing. Donnie?
Well, here's Brian Dinkelman, hoping to deliver a big hit for the Twins, who've been shut out so far here tonight by the Red Sox. Dinkelman pops the first pitch back and out of play.
What happened to the old days? You had a guy like Durwood and Merrill Durwood would come on and say, hey, we got a plane to catch. We want this game out in 2 hours and 45 minutes. If you don't like it, hey, it's settled. And Durwood didn't care if the ball was up or down, strike. So he's telling him, you better speed up. I'm going to call this game. Come on now, you know how Durwood was.
It was my first year in the big leagues, and it was a day game, and Durwood dropped on me. I'd never heard it before. I'd heard people talk about Durwood saying this, and he dropped, hey, Coom, that was a Hall of Fame pitch. And I told him, if everybody gets that pitch, everybody's going to be in the Hall of Fame, Durwood. He was one of the all-time characters in our game, Durwood Merrill.
He was, but it's one thing.
Great umpire.
He knew that if Roger Clemens was pitching, everything is strike.
And
Nolan
Ryan was classic at that, Dick.
You know why, don't you? Texas.
That's right.
Texas.
2 strikes to Dinkelman, with Carpenter trying to pitch out of a jam in the 8th. Ball, third strike. There you go. Brian O'Nora heard you.
That's a Hall of Fame pitch,
yes,
son.
There you go.
I got a story better than that.
Next inning.
I got a story better than that.
Brian Dunsing, trying to, right now, win a spot as a relief pitcher. He hasn't been given an opportunity to start a game yet. And Dan Rolfing will be his catcher as the Red Sox come to the plate here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Let's go back down to Jenny Dell.
Thank you very much. We have Hall of Famer Jim Rice and All-Star Ron Coomer in our booth, and we're having fans tweeting questions using the hashtag AskThePros. Question here from Home Hunters. They want to know, what is the single best piece of advice you could give young ball players?
Well, that's a great question. When you talk about advice you can give a young player or advice you've gotten throughout the years, I think the best piece of advice, and this just goes to about baseball, and this may not totally answer this question, but best piece of advice. One of your old teammates, Carlton Fisk, came to Chicago, and he told me, when you get to the big leagues, the best thing you can do is not let anybody take your mental energy away from you because you get distracted with stuff. And if you know Pudge, nobody was going to do that to Pudge. And to me, I didn't understand what he meant until I got to the big leagues and the importance of all of that.
What a play by Ray Olmedo. Not in time to get Wilkerson, who flew down the line, but Olmedo made that barehanded play about as well as a third baseman can make it.
This is a one-hop bunt that he ends up barehanding going towards the line. And it's a very tough catch as he juggled it just a little, but makes a great off-balance throw. And you are correct. For a third baseman, this is an extremely tough play. And he makes it look pretty easy and almost gets the out at first base.
So Wilkerson aboard with a bunt single. Daniel Nava will hit next. Jim Rice, your advice, single best advice you could give a youngster.
Well, one thing, you can't let anyone intimidate you. And I think you got to keep it simple, and you try to pick everyone's brains that is sports that can give you knowledge. You know, go out and try different things. You know, be your own person, but still you got to be able to take that criticism and people know who you are. It's just mainly just making you an adult and learning from your mistakes.
Nava grounds a single up the middle, and Dunsing is greeted by a pair of singles, a bunt single and a single to center.
Well, Nava just shoots this ball back through the middle. See, Brian throws that fastball and kind of leaves it in the middle of the plate, and Nava does what he's supposed to do, just shoot it right back where it came from for a base hit.
Hiker Meneses will hit for the first time. First and second, nobody out. Meneses entered as a pinch runner for Pedroia after his second single of the game. Dustin Pedroia went 2 for 3.
Now, Jimmy, you talked about the intimidation factor of baseball, and to me, in looking back at some of the names you've talked about throughout the day, the Nolan Ryans and people like that, the intimidation, Vita Blue, the intimidation factor was so much more prevalent, I think, when you came into the game. Nowadays, the inside part of the plate for a pitcher, you can get suspended, or you just don't see the up and in pitches like you used to, the intimidation of playing the game. You just don't see that happen as much as you did back when you first started in the 70s.
But see, to me, if I was in a slump, I wanted a guy to hit me. I'm not going to go out there and fight him. I want him to hit me. So now it's like if they always say, oh, hound dog sitting on the porch over there and he's not bothering anybody, you go to mess with him and then he's going to wake up. And that's the way old school, that's the way we were. We wanted to do something or have you to do something to us to get us riled up, or you take 1 hour guys out. And that's what it was all about. That's what it was all about. Just having fun. If you hit 1 hour guys, we hit one of your guys and it's over with.
Yep.
But if a guy didn't pitch inside, we felt as being a hitter, we got you. We intimidate you. You're not going to intimidate us.
1 and 2 to Meneses. Lyle Overbay on deck. All your spring trainings were in Winter Haven.
In Winter
right?
Haven, yes.
What was that facility like?
That's why I went on a lot of trips with nothing.
To get out of there. There's a drive deep left center field. Meneses on a 1-2 pitch cracks one against the monster. 1 run will score. A runner held at third on an RBI double. And it's 4-0 Boston.
Well, it's a pitch. Dunsing just leaves up and out over the plate, and this ball gets banged off the The green monster in left center field. Hicks does a great job of playing this ball off the monster. One-handed, bare hands this ball, hits the cutoff man and saves the Twins an extra run.
No, he played that pretty good. But here's the thing right here, is that he had a little more room there. So you got to go over there and you got to run as hard as you can. The first thing you throw out your right arm and just go out and try to get that ball, because he's got the speed. And the ball hit low. That's one thing about Freddie and I. We felt like if the ball hit low, we misplayed the ball. Freddie got to have that ball.
So is that the center fielder's ball or left fielder's ball?
Center fielder ball.
And what happened, if you guys both knew, if one guy went for the ball, the other guy was going to come way back in towards the infield to have his back.
That's right.
In case he didn't get to that ball and bounced away from him.
Infield in, 1 strike to Overbay. And ball 2. Well, in Minnesota at the Metrodome, they don't have or did not have the Green Monster, but the greatest catch in Twins history was in the World Series. Kirby Puckett made the great catch against the plexiglass in Game 6 of the World Series in 1991, down and away, and it's 2-1. And Dan Gladden, who does Twins radio a couple booths over, says, watch where I was. I was right where I was supposed to be. If Puck didn't make that catch, I was going to get the carom. That's how a left fielder and a center fielder are supposed to play that ball, right?
That's the way you do it.
There's a fastball down the middle, 2-2. Well, Dunsing's struggling here. We mentioned that he's trying to win a spot as a relief pitcher. There's a dearth of left-handed pitching in the Twins organization right now. We've seen Pedro Hernandez and now Brian Dunsing. But really only one starting candidate. That's Scott Diamond, and he might not be ready at the start of the season. 2-2, and just low, and the veteran Overbay now has a full count.
And Diamond's scheduled to start throwing here soon, right? In the next few days.
Yeah,
he's gonna
be getting into a game here pretty soon. So a full count, first base open and the infield in. And Overbay waits on the breaking pitch and flares it foul.
If everything goes good for Scott Diamond, what the projection is, he might miss one start, or because of the off day and things like that, if everything keeps going along the way it should.
So Butler on deck. Ooh. Fastball on the outside corner. One down.
I see the RBI machine next to me. Not liking the take on this one. That's a fastball in the middle.
You work the count 3-2. I mean, it's the hardest part, working 3-2. And then you sit there and you take a pitch.
A fastball up.
Fastball up, and my guy here, he cringed when he didn't swing that bat at that one.
What are you looking for? You looking for a curveball?
No. You saw my highlight. I was looking for the fastball. The curveball's what got me in the booth.
Twins keep the infield in now for Butler. And Dunsing delivers a breaking pitch on the outside corner. Ryan Dent on deck for the Red Sox. Popped up. And the right fielder Dinkelman comes in. Tagging and trying to score. Here's a throw cut off, and Colabello ends up holding the ball. Everybody moves up a base on a fly ball just deep enough for the second run of the inning.
Well, one thing, he doesn't really catch the ball overthrowing him. I mean, he catches it overthrowing, but look where his throwing arm is. His throwing arm is down. When you're an outfielder, when you got to come in and get the ball, you always got to have your momentum going towards the plate. If he catches the ball, got his momentum going toward the plate, he's supposed to be able to throw one hopper into home plate. I mean, if you look at him, he's not that very far.
No, he wasn't deep at all, and it looks like to me Dinkelman was more concerned about catching that baseball than he was getting his feet prepared and his body prepared with that momentum going home. And that's why the runner from third base kept going, because he wasn't really thinking he was going to go, but Dinkelman didn't get the momentum coming towards home. So then that lets the Red Sox runner just keep going, and the runner scores, all because of the way that ball was caught.
The other day I was walking on the backfield, and we had our minor leagues over there, and they were doing the same thing. And I stopped my walk, and I walk every morning, stopped my walk, and just went over there and said, look, guys, why are you out here? Why are you doing this? Catching the ball over here, taking the ball over and throwing it back. And said, look, if you're going to do anything, why don't you just catch the ball here and just throw the ball? You're wasting a lot of time. If I was the hitting guy here hitting you fly balls, I'll just quit. Because you're embarrassing me and you're embarrassing yourself.
Well, then there's a big league way of doing it. That's why guys get to the big leagues and stay in the big leagues, because there's a right way to do things, and guys that are successful at this level do it right all the time, and they don't have things happen, and that's where, you know, guys end up getting up to the big leagues and then fading back out of the big leagues because they can't sustain doing things the right way.
So I was very fortunate. I don't know about you, Ryan, but I had Johnny Pesky, I had Don Zimmer, which were very hard. I had Eddie Yost, had Eddie Popowski, Frank Malzone. So I had guys down there. If I'm doing something wrong, if any player's doing something wrong, they say, look, this is the way we were taught to do it, and this is the way you're going to do it. And that's the way I was.
Couple of runs for the Red Sox. Brian Dunston gives up 3 hits. The Red Sox expand the lead to 5. Don Orsillo will wrap things up in the 9th inning when we come back.
This broadcast is produced in association with Fox Sports Net and Nesson. Well, it's 5-0 as the Red Sox add a pair of runs in the last half of the 8th inning to take a 5-0 lead to the 9th inning. They had a new pitcher on for the Red Sox as they work with their 4th pitcher of the game. Anthony Carter comes into the game for Boston after 2 innings from Chris Carpenter. Carpenter got out of a bases loaded jam, striking out the side in the 8th, and Anthony Carter comes in. Last year at AAA Charlotte in 39 games and a record of 4-6 a season ago. Signed by the Red Sox as a minor league free agent during the offseason, a non-roster invitee, and we head into the 9th inning. Well, the Red Sox with 5 runs, 11 hits, no errors. The Twins, no runs on 6 hits and no errors.
It's been a very good ball game for the Boston Red Sox. They've swung the bats when they needed to, got some big hits, and made the plays. And I think for both ball clubs, when you look at, you know, in spring training and you're trying out some guys at positions or trying to see who's going to make your club. For the Red Sox, you look at no errors, you look at guys that run the bases pretty well. Last inning, you score a run just because a guy's heads up on the base path. Same thing for the Minnesota Twins. So, to me, even this a win-loss for either team, the important guys of trying to make a ball club, which is what the managers are looking for. You know, a guy like Benson here, you know, swinging the bat, and what's he going to do? Is he going to make this club? To me, this has been a good ball game for both managers. to really look at their young players and see what they got.
Well, look at the young players, but also you have to look at the spots, see if any spots are available. And then if the spots are not available for the young guys, you go to your veteran guys, but still your veteran guys want to go out and just make, get some good swings, aggressive swings, and avoid some injuries. Those are the key things. Try to get out of here without any injuries, and probably you're going to see different swings maybe another week or so when they get ready to go north.
And also they can make certainly an impression on their managers for the future. When you think about later on down the road during the season, you need a guy, somebody that stuck out during spring training, be one of the first guys John Farrell thinks about.
Without question, with either manager, when you have a young player who is trying to make this club, the Boston Red Sox had a change at shortstop. This young guy has made the plays at shortstop. He's hit a couple balls hard the other way. He's your first-round pick, and he's a guy that you're looking to possibly for the future in the next couple years. But this is his first big league camp as Benson hits a line drive to right field for an out. But are those things, and you're right, Don, of making an impact on the manager, because now he realizes that this guy's going to make the plays at short. If he sees pitching that might overmatch him a little bit, he's going to be able to handle it and shoot some balls the other way and just do the things that you really need a young guy to come in and do. Not be the superstar, be the role player.
But see, I would be in a situation where Drew is hurt, right? I mean, concussion. I would be the type of guy that when I come in the morning, I'm going into Farrell, so you need any coffee? I want to play. I'm going to bring him coffee, donuts, whatever I got to do, because now I got a chance to maybe be that backup shortstop. So that's what I'm. And Sirianni, he's hurt a little bit.
Yes.
I mean, so he had a little twinge in his back. So now I got an opportunity to go out and show my skills, and I got a chance to maybe make that club. If I make the club, I get minimum salary.
And you never know. When you got that jersey, you never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
Well, that's another thing you're worried about, too, in spring training, and that is injuries. Getting out of here without any of your major players being injured during these 32 games.
Yeah, both managers. The Minnesota Twins really struggled with injuries the last couple of years in their rotation last year. Mauer Morneau the year before for the Boston Red Sox. You look at injuries, you can't win without your star players being on the field. Both teams have felt that issue for a couple of years now.
Seemed like Josh Beckett, year in and year out, would get injured in spring training. It never seemed to work out. Every year it would happen, unfortunately, and every season the Red Sox would go north without some of their stars. But so far, so good down here in spring. Just hoping to get David Ortiz back and get some at-bats. And again, if you missed it earlier, he is expected to take some aggressive batting practice on Monday, whatever that means. I don't know what aggressive batting practice is.
I've never seen him not take aggressive batting practice.
But it'll be aggressive on Monday, which is good news. Sounds like he's doing better. The Yankees have already had him in Curtis Granderson at his first at-bat of the spring. Ends up fracturing his arm on a pitch, and that certainly sets them back. And it'll be interesting. The American League East, I think, headed into this year is going to be very interesting because you got Toronto on paper very good, but I mean anybody can really take this division. It depends who steps up here during the regular season and who's healthiest.
Well, and a big thing last year, you looked at the Baltimore Orioles, came in and played well right from the very beginning and took off and stayed in the race and did an unbelievable job. But Jimmy, this year, when you look at the East Division, obviously the Red Sox, the Yankees are the two teams, but Toronto making some major moves and bringing in some players that can really impact this division. Tampa's another club that you look at what Madden's done since he's been there.
Well, you look at the three teams that you talk about. I mean, they really just wiped the Red Sox out. I mean, you're talking about Tampa, you're talking about Toronto and Baltimore. At one time, we say we go to Baltimore, we playing 4 games, we knew we was going to win 3. That's the other way around.
Not that way anymore.
Not that anymore. But that's the way it was. Things have just made a complete change.
Red Sox were 16-2 in 18 games against Baltimore a few years ago. This is in the left field. And a base hit for Escobar. 2-out base hit here in the 9th inning. It wasn't that long ago that Tampa Bay was struggling, and now every year they're running new pitching up to the major leagues, and they're able to get rid of a guy like James Shields, but still have an incredible rotation heading into the season.
If you look at ball clubs around the league, your new manager, to me, has brought an element to Farrell to this team of being committed to fundamentals and being committed to doing things the right way, and he's won as a pitching coach in this uniform. To me, the thing that was amazing is how the turnaround that Madden had on that Tampa Bay organization. To me, they just scuffled year in and year out, and one guy coming in changed the whole dynamic of an organization.
On the ground towards third base, Gibson backs up, goes to second for the force out there that ends the game. Well, Twins fans will come back for another break after this, and for those of you watching the Red Sox game, Destin Daly is coming right next.